We've got a bunch of bar and brewery and restaurant partners, and it's all under TomandDanWateringHoles.com.
Yeah, we got something for everybody, though. It's a pretty intense list of places. Like, if you were undecided about what to do for date night, we got you.
Yeah, because all these different places have worked with us for a long time. We go there.
Yeah.
Our listeners go there. If you do go there, ask for a Tom and Dan pint glass or some sort of Tom and Dan koozie. They'll have one for you, and it'll let them know that you came there because of us.
Let's start a different way. Let's start in Sanford with Tuffy's Bottle Shop and Lounge.
Oh, yeah. Always has great entertainment going through their music box, which is, Tuffy's is a compound with live entertainment all the time.
Bars. I mean, if you count Tuffy's, then there's the Bottle Shop, then there's
Suffering Bastard.
Then there's an outdoor bar.
Yeah, their patio bar.
Then there's food. There's a lot going on.
And Hollabox is partnering with Tuffy's now.
Right.
And they're going to have food at Tuffy's, so that place is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Now, West End and Celery City Craft, that's kind of on the L. If you've been to any of our events, you've been to probably both of those bars. Celery City Craft Beer, 51 taps. Can't get better than that.
Yeah,
West End, more for your drinks. You want to do a sunshine bomb. You wanted some, some reggae.
Eat up the joint inside.
Yeah. Ailstone. Now, Ailstone don't be sleeping on Ailstone. They got, value pizzas Monday through Thursday.
Yeah. They make their food in-house. Great food. They got, the 50% off their pizzas Monday through Thursday.
Yes.
Great, delicious beers.
May still talks about their meatball sub, of all things. She'll talk about an Ailstone meatball sub.
That's in Longwood.
The Current Seafood Counter, that's a great little spot for counter service seafood, great northeastern beers, couple of cocktails like Tom's always talking about, a margarita and a fish sandwich. You cannot go wrong at the Current.
That's in College Park. We also got Salty Sisters in Cocoa Beach. Of course, that's Tiffany's place.
Yeah.
She's got things going on at all times. Live music. She's opening up businesses crazy.
Karaoke, live music. Then she's opening all these other businesses. Cafe Da Vinci. That is that's the romance pick. You want the atmosphere under the stars. You want the singer-songwriter who sing that song where you lean over and you kiss your significant other. That's the spot.
They've got punk rock coming through there. Yeah. They've got ska.
They get legendary bands. They get like real jazz and things rolling through there.
That's in DeLand.
Yep. Hourglass Brewing. 2 locations. We love these guys. They make our beers. And Hourglass, a group of guys that they just don't stop.
A compound in Longwood, and they got their tap room in Orlando. Also, Little Indies. Of course, Will's Pub, Dirty Laundry. Yep. That's Will's Pub.
Another little compound.
Yeah. That is the venue in Orlando that gets all the best punk rock.
The independent rock and roll venue.
Yeah. 100%.
Nobody can even touch Will's. And then we close it all out with another one that would be like, I think, a tip-up, upscale, bring your significant other and show out a little bit. Breeze, Whiskey Bar and Lounge. Tons of different whiskeys to choose from, cocktails, craft beers, and just hanging out in a fun atmosphere.
Yeah, and that's in Kissimmee.
That's in Kissimmee.
I like that they're spread across all of Central Florida
what do we
area.
Need? There's going to be some places we need. If you know of a bar near you that we haven't covered that would make a great watering hole, hit them up and then hit us up.
It's TomandDanWateringHoles.com. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan, and we are back, and it feels weirdo, right? It's weird. Like my ears feel like I got like fresh ears. Am I screaming? I feel like I'm screaming.
Yeah. We're definitely like the volume of when we do the show is way different.
We're off our game. It's going to take us a solid 3 hours to get it. The show isn't even 3 hours long. It's going to take us a solid 3 to work out the cobwebs. Speaking of which, there was a cobweb on my light this morning.
No, really?
Yeah.
We were gone long enough.
We were gone long enough to make a cobweb.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I'm glad we don't have the fish tank anymore.
Oh, God. I think about that all the time.
Or any pets that were, that we have to get someone to come here.
Luca the lizard, all that stupid stuff we did during COVID.
Go feed our tarantula.
Drop by and throw a chicken in for our gators.
Because remember when the fish tank went bye-bye?
It cracked and it leaked in one night, like Santa Claus.
What other animal could we get? I was thinking about an oxalata.
An oxalata. We had a gentleman reach out. Don't those give you
chinchilla?
I thought oxalatas gave you salmonella a lot. Or leprosy?
No.
I think so. Those are those. Or is that a pangolin? What's a pangolin?
They all carry some sort of diseases,
Yeah.
but I think it's rare.
But they're the pets you don't do anything with, right? You're just like, look at that, I got an oxalotl. Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And then people are like, ooh.
Well, you know what you do have to do is...
An oxalotl is that little thing you draw, like he puts its face up against the fish tank and then you draw glasses on it, right? Isn't that what that thing is?
It's some sort of lizard that lives in the water. That's like it's like a frog lizard. I don't know.
I caught a Georgia mudfish. Well, I did. My daughter caught a Georgia mudfish.
Okay. What is that?
I don't
like
even
a catfish?
Yeah, no, it is not a catfish. It looked like a piece of mud that's a fish.
Oh,
It's horrible looking. It looked like half fish, half poo-poo, half mud. And then mad, mean face, big eyeballs, gross looking. She's holding it. I'm like, you want to hold it? I'm like, I don't want to hold that.
So
It's disgusting.
let's talk about it. So you went to the river. What's the name of the river?
The river, and I've fallen in love with it, man. I love this place. I am offering this place up to people if they want to go. I'm not one of those people where I'll send you the link. If you want to rent it, rent it.
Yeah.
Jim Phillips reached out to me and said, like, hey, where are you at? That looks awesome. I want to rent that. I sent it to Jim Phillips.
There's probably a ton of cabins
Tons.
on the river, right? I
Tons.
mean, Airbnb is probably hundreds of
I actually thought of you for the camping trip because the road we're on, there's this little road, and like if you want it, Dan@TomandDan.com, I'll email you. I'm not going to talk about it, but all the cabins down there are basically sort of the same, very nice, like right on the river, not beside the river, on the river. Every single one of them, we were the only one occupied. We could have rented every cabin and had a camping trip for your birthday. Like, it would have been amazing because you'd have like a community.
Yeah, because you rent a group of them. Yeah,
you get them all. Like, there were like 6 down there, and I was
sure
like, this is perfect.
From what I know, my buddy Alex actually has
he has one, right?
a small little cabin in the mountains somewhere. Like he's in North Carolina, I believe. But like apparently, there's a ton of Airbnb business all the way up, like all in
see why.
in the Blue Ridge Mountains and stuff, and from Georgia to North Carolina,
Yeah.
like. There is just tons of Airbnbs, and they all have like hot tubs on the back,
Yeah.
and then next to the river,
It's all you need. Yeah, we had the hot tub, and we're right on the river, but it's on the Cartacay. It's right outside of a little town called Ellijay, Georgia. I've been there before, and we did it in the basically when it was super cold winter, and now we wanted to see like in the summertime what it was like, and way better in the summer because you can tube until your legs cannot tube any longer.
Do you do what everybody does on vacation, where you sit back and you're like, "We should live here"?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if I lived here,
life.
my life would be better.
Yeah, I start planning my new life in the mountains.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to convince Andrea. Like I'm like, yeah, we can do the show remote.
Yeah.
We've got internet out here. It'll be fine.
The problem with life is that you fantasize about that,
Yeah.
but then if you actually live there, you'd be tired of it.
Yeah,
You're-
I would.
if you
I
say
would.
that, you're like, not as good as it was on vacation.
Yeah.
And I think that's the curse, is that's you truly appreciate the vacation.
Yes.
And if you live there, then it just becomes your mundane everyday life.
But I will
and then
say-
you go back to the beach. You're like, we should live here. You know, it's like
I haven't been at the river long enough to burn it out yet.
Yeah.
I haven't felt it. The beach, I
Yeah.
will agree, I've burned out the beach.
Yeah. Well,
I've
you've been
burned
there
out
somewhere,
other
yeah.
places, but like for whatever reason, this one's, I think that's why it's my favorite, because the river has been holding my attention longer than any other like outdoor destination I've ever been to. There's something about that. Maybe it's just my high anxiety plus river equals final like peace or something, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And then we made record-breaking time. It only takes about 7 hours to get up there, 8 hours.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
It's just I've thought about that too, because every time I go to Colorado, I'm like, man, I would love to live here. But then I remind myself, like, if I lived here, it would just become my day-to-day life and not be special anymore. And then I would say the same thing about some other place I went to.
Well,
and I think that's what happens.
Okay, let's investigate something that you've mentioned your wife has that I think I have as well, and why it bothers us, okay? I love this place so much that I've told Andrea multiple times, I'm like, ask that lady if she wants to sell this place.
Yeah.
And let's just see what we can do. I mean, even if Tom and I pulled our resources and made it a Tom and Dan adventure Airbnb, I was like, this place rules. Let's see what we can do. But Andrea's like, it wouldn't be special then, because you'd have it. It'd be yours. And I know your wife has mentioned this before, but like I don't. There's
well,
something.
then it's just an investment to make money.
Yeah, but if I'm not connected to it somehow, like if it's not mine, it feels less. I don't know what that is. That's an emotional person thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
That's emotional. Yeah.
Because like there is a part of me that says I don't want other people renting this because I don't want other people like staking up the spot and ruining it.
Yeah. You're not the person for an investment property because people would be in there and be messing it up because that's what they do. They'd be partying or they'd be screwing up some plumbing party. And you'd just be you'd be mad the whole time that someone is in there screwing your stuff up.
I'll be watching the cameras all the time. Always watching the cameras.
Yeah. You're too emotional to
watch it, and then if the camera had
you'd be like, get the hell out of here.
Clean those cans up. This isn't a frat house.
Yeah.
Mother effers.
So
let me tell you about. You mentioned plumbing problems. Now would be probably unless you had somewhere you wanted to drive.
I was going to ask you, did you catch any fish besides the mudfish?
I did not. We caught some minnows. We caught the mudfish. Trout fishing,
dude, it's next to impossible.
It's hard, and especially when I didn't even have a lake. I had a rushing water river, and from what I was told, and I was reading everything about trout fishing. I was reading about how to set up your trout magnet, how to set up your what do you want to use? You're going to use a spinner bait, you're going to do a trout magnet with a bobber on it, you got to put a split washer or a split weight on it to keep your bait. I was like doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
And caught nothing. And then I found this little old man walked up on me while I was fishing one day, and he's like he'd been fishing, like I saw him down the road fishing, like down the river, you could see him on the bank, and he walked down to me and he's like, are there any goddamn fish in this river? And I was like, I think there are. I've seen them. I say, I just think we're really bad at fishing. And he's like, okay. And like he went back to his spot.
Well,
nothing. Got nothing. Got a couple bites, though. Did get a bite.
Yeah.
Lost a couple lures because I don't know how to tie lures on correctly. I'm pretty bad at it.
Yeah. Well, first,
I'm realistic.
It helps if you know. Yeah. If it's like you don't fish all the time, like most like. But
now I like fishing. I'll tell you that. I spooled the reel multiple times because I made a lot of mistakes. But I very much enjoyed it.
So I've never been too much into fishing enough to like be into it as much as my buddy Andres is.
It's hard.
But that is like because my buddy Andres did come with me on this trip with him and his family, and he brought his fishing pole, and we did do a lot of fishing. He
set me up good. He gave me some good advice, got me a good rig, got me a good pole.
I appreciate how hard it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you a story. He did catch a trout, and then my son Max caught a trout.
Awesome.
Which I appreciated so much that he helped.
Jealous.
Now, they caught it in a pond up at the top of Sunlight Mountain in a resort that they stocked full of fish for rich white kids to fish.
They do move fish around. Like, they stock, apparently where I was at, above, I think it was like Interstate 57, they stock.
Yeah.
And I'm way lower than 57. So the likelihood of those fish making it to me, I'd have to go above it. I was learning all the lingo. People were telling me at breakfast, they're like, you got to go above 57.
But the rest of the time where he was fishing in a non-stocked, like he was trying to fish in rivers and other lakes,
natural
and
fishing.
nothing. Not a couple bites, not even close.
You got to throw the pigeon in front of my gun.
By the way, I didn't see anybody, and even in that lake up at Sunlight Mountain, that it was stocked, and then there was tons of rich kids fishing around. No one caught nothing. Andres ended up catching a trout with bread. Bread on the
bread. I was using everything.
He caught bread.
Oh
he used
God.
bread.
I was using rooster tails. I was using a trout magnet. Then we were using big red worms. Then I was using trout balls.
And but it's insanely. And then I started appreciating fishing.
I see why people get into it.
It's hard as hell.
You know what I really got into kind of on this trip? And I wasn't planning on talking about it, but let's talk about it. I kind of got into... And I think that most fishermen, please email me and tell me if I'm sort of right on this. Dan@TomandDan.com. I think part of it is sipping a cold beer, tying knots, and organizing your dumb lures. Moving things around, organizing them, making sure that your line is spooled on counterclockwise. So you don't get knots and tangled, little things like that I never knew. I never thought about that when I was a kid fishing.
I've heard
the setup is part of it, right? Sipping a beer and setting it up.
Yeah, it's like for a lot of people, hunting is that same way. It's about the trip. The hunting trip is about drinking with your friends in the woods,
right?
And you could actually kill an animal eventually, but sometimes you
drunk.
don't.
I was too drunk.
Yeah. But most of the fun is had just hanging with your buddies, drinking, and some people are seriously into it. Like, there's anglers out there that are all about but those.
Well, every Walmart I went to, apparently every Spanish person fishes, and I had to jockey to get some of those rooster tails. I had to elbow my way up there like I was at Vans Warped Tour. It was a Saturday morning. I'm in the LJ Walmart. It's me and every Spanish person in Georgia lining, I'm like, excuse me, I had to go get up there, and then there's like 2 rooster tails left. I snag them, I run out of there like it was Black Friday shopping. It's crazy. Fishing up there in the LJ Walmart, they had 6 aisles in Walmart for fishing. 6. 6 aisles full of stuff. Tackle boxes, poles.
But I do appreciate how hard it is, and catching a fish is rare. So when you do it, it's super special. Yeah. I think,
and I'm okay with that. I did.
Unless you really know what you're doing. Like, I feel like the guys that river fish up there that catch when they always go up, they know exactly where to go. They know what bait to use,
what time on the banks, how to work work your line correctly,
the time of the year.
Yeah. I'm into it. I like it.
The month, the morning compared to after, like all this stuff. Like they dial it down where they know, and that's if you just go out there with a pole in Walmart, like if you catch something, it's going to be insanely rare. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could though.
I get and you get excited when you read things. You read like a little blurb, and you're like, it'll say something like, well, stick to the. Make sure you stick to the bank and work with the current. And they're like, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. So you go and you try it, and you still don't catch anything, but you think you've gained a little knowledge, right?
Yeah.
You organize your stuff. Yeah, I'm into it.
Although nowadays it's easier than ever to get free information off YouTube, and there's Reddit forums
it's all fake,
and stuff
like Mr. Beast, though. It's all fake.
No, but
all those fishing videos, fake fish, people putting them on the hooks.
It'll tell.
I don't believe anything on YouTube now.
There'll be real anglers that will tell you where to go, exactly what to use, and stuff that wasn't available. Like, think about it. 20 years ago, no one was catching nothing. Now at least you have the exact guide of a professional telling you exactly where to go. I mean, if you look on any river, there'll be some sort of information, like go to this spot. Yeah. There's some secret spots that people don't give away, but for the most part, everything's out there. There's no hidden secrets anymore. All the honey holes are on the internet.
Yeah, but from what I saw, even if you found a honey hole, I mean, you still got to work.
Oh, no,
you'd be busting your ass out there.
Yeah, no one's just throwing bait in and catching fish after fish. That doesn't exist.
Let me tell you a quick, you mentioned, plumbing problems, I think, earlier. So we had just gotten there. We got in, we left on, last Sunday to get there. We got in around maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
We get in, I get a 12-pack of Coors Lights, I get the fishing pole out, and because we cruised in late, we're not going to go tubing or get in the water yet or anything.
Yeah.
But we can still screw around a little bit. I go out there and I start fishing, I'm pounding beers, I'm listening to classic country music, I'm living the dream.
That's the good part about the first day on vacation is you get
hard.
Blacked out.
You go hard.
Yeah.
Super hard.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about LJ, Georgia. They sell 12-packs, but they don't sell... And I still got a little accent, sorry. They don't sell 12-ounce beers. All Coors Lights, which that's what I like to drink when I'm listening to classic country music and fishing, is Coors Lights. I like C minuses. They sell them in the 16-ounce pints in a 12-pack.
Okay.
So I hit a 12-pack of 16 ounces while I was fishing the first night I was there. I went sideways off the mountain. I went off the mountain.
They gotta sell regular 12-packs.
Can't find them.
Not Walmart or whatever.
I've got a picture on Andrea's phone. They were out doing something.
All tall boys.
They're like, we'll get you beer, but we can't. We keep. That's good. That's a good family too. When you're fishing with the dog, and they're out getting fudge, and they'll message you and be like, you need beer. That's a good family. That's a good family.
Yeah.
And I wrote back. I said, yes, I need beer. And they're like, we can't find a regular 12-pack. And Maisie and Andrea are driving all around Georgia looking for just a regular 12-pack of just 12-ounce cans. No, it's all 16-ounce pints.
I like it when our kids are involved in our alcoholism.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that.
They're like, Dad isn't happy unless he has beer.
Yeah, I like that.
We got to get Dad beer.
Yeah, I want my...
Oh, he's going to get grumpy.
I
You got
want
to
a
get him
core
beer.
memory of my daughter. She's like, we used to go on vacation, and we'd have to spend hours driving around for small beers for my dad. Because he'd get too drunk on the big ones.
Yeah.
But so I get the 16 ounces. I'm fishing. I go sideways off the mountain because I have a great night. I got Conway Twitty blasting. I'm fishing. I'm getting skunked, but who cares? I'm drinking. I got no shirt on. I got on a pair of Dukes and a hat.
Yeah.
I'm living the dream. So middle of the night, the biggest storm that area of LJ has ever, like, storm of the century blows in.
Okay.
And I'm talking thunder, lightning, but it would do these whoopie-doo gusts that, like, come off the mountain that you could hear trees falling down. You could hear trees every... And then, because, like, substations were exploding and lightning's cracking all over the place, you could hear the whoosh come off the mountain, almost like, you know when you got a window that's not sealed and you hear it go like... Like that. It sounds like that. All of a sudden, just like 35 tree limbs just come flying off the roof of our place into the river. Crash! We're like, get inside. We get inside. We're watching it from inside. Like, we're like, okay, we're fine. We're in here. We're like, we got to go to bed. And it's just gust after gust. We're sitting there. I'm sitting there playing. I brought the Xbox. I got College Football 25. This is just as good as fishing. I'm firing some passes with UCF. We get a flicker. I'm firing a few more passes with UCF. Malachi Fields. I'm throwing them. All the power goes out.
Okay.
I'm like, uh-oh, this is not good. This is right around 8 o'clock.
Yeah. And also, you're probably thinking, well, this is an Airbnb. I don't know how long it takes them to repair, like, the power lines on the mountain.
You know what I'm saying? Have cell service down here. Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Like, you know, some power line goes down in the mountain, and they're like, oh, we don't have the bucket trucks until, like, 3 days from now to fix. You know what I'm saying? And then you're at your Airbnb with you need AC.
Now, thankfully, because I was doing the big 16 ounces, I'm remarkably calm. And I'm calming everybody down. I give myself an award. I was like the good steward. I was like, everybody chill out. We're fine. We're inside this cabin. We had turned the AC down because we're about to go to bed. We're cool. It's not warm outside. Everything is great. We got food. We got water. Let's just ride it out. We'll go to bed. Yeah. No big deal. It'll be come on in the morning. No big deal.
I do like being too drunk to worry about an emergency.
Yeah. You do this a lot. It's one of your specialties.
Like during hurricanes or something happening. I'm like, well, I think
I was channeling you there.
I'm too drunk to even handle anything. I could barely walk. I definitely can't drive.
I could fall out the front door.
So
I could fall out the front door.
I just have to go to sleep and pass out.
Yeah. And you have to calm everyone down. This is totally fine.
Yeah.
Why is everybody is crazy?
Like, I'm so drunk that I could die right now. Don't even care.
Like, if I were to if a tree fell on me, I'm so relaxed, I'll live.
Yeah.
I did think about that. I was like, that's got to be the dad in me, like, kind of combining with my anxiety, because I did think a few times, because you could, no BS, you could hear trees falling. Around us.
Yeah.
Big ones, dude. Like, and they were getting pulled out of the earth, and you could hear it. Like, you could hear the ground moving, and I was like, what if one of these just cuts our cabin in half? Right? Because that happens.
Yeah, it does happen.
And I'll tell you what happened. It did happen up the road. So Andrea's like, well, the power's out. I'm going to, and you could hear like a faint, like a substation or something way out there, like beeping or something.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to jump in the car, and I'm just going to go up the mountain and, the mountain road, and just kind of see if everybody else has power and see how far it goes. So she jumps in the car. She's riding up the mountain. She's like texting us. And about 5 minutes later, we get a massive picture. And I'll bring it in so you can see it. But it's a ginormous mega tree, like I don't know how many, like 50, 100 years old tree.
Yeah.
That fell, and it cut all the power lines down. Like, bam! And like smashed them all down. When she got up there were already 3 guys and an old lady. They all had chainsaws. Everyone there carries a chainsaw. Like it's a pocket knife.
Yeah.
Everyone was already out there. They're like, hey.
Cutting it up?
Yeah, and Andrea's like, should I call the power company? They're like, yeah, we already did it. And we're like, we're about to cut this up, clear the road. And they're like going at it, man.
Yeah.
Those people work.
Did they get it back on?
They had the road cleared, and then so Andrea drove back down. No power still. We're thinking, I don't know when we're going to get this. So we decide to go to bed. So we go to bed, wake up the next morning, still no power. We have no power. And I'm like, I got IBS, and I drank 12 16 ounces, C minuses last night. The train's coming, and it just pulled into Whistle Junction, and we got to let the passengers off. So Andrea's like, well, I mean, I guess just go in the upstairs because there's 2 toilets in this cabin. She's like, go in the upstairs.
Well, why do you need power for the
water pump?
So they need
electric
pump the
water pump.
Okay, yeah.
So we have no water, we have no power. And I got so much doo-doo in me.
But you still have the water in the tank. One flush.
Maisie used it to pee.
No. Oh, no, God.
Maisie used it to pee.
Did you scream, no?
I didn't think about it at the time. She's in there just doing her business.
Well, you can get the water from the river and fill the tank up, I guess.
But we decided that it would be
Poop
better.
in the river?
No. I said that. They wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me do that. They said it's still blowing. It's still crazy out there.
It's a good thing about a river is it'll bring the poop down.
Yeah. Other people.
You're like, not my problem anymore.
I kind of wanted to low-key poop in the river just to see, like, is this what cowboys did? Plus, the river is between 62 and 65 degrees, like, all the time.
Yeah.
So it's, like, really crisp.
Yeah.
So I was like, that'll feel great. I bet your more will come out. Anyway, Andrea's a genius. She used a giant, like a big soup pot and was scooping water out of the hot tub to flush down my diarrhea.
The old hot tub.
Hot tub water, yeah. You just use the hot tub water.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. We're MacGyvering it out there. But then finally the power comes on, and, they did something that I've never seen before in their storm fixing. I'm sure they do it around here too, but when the power company came, and they turned it on like super duper fast, they didn't clean up the lines that broke. They just ran new lines.
No, really?
And
it was like, leave them on the ground.
They did. Because they're there's nothing going through them.
Yeah.
So it's like because it got your power on a lot faster, right?
Yeah.
Than them having to clean up everything. I'm like, no, just run new lines and get their power on. I was like, oh, that's great.
That's cool.
And they'll clean it up later. But yeah, it was a little dicey for a second. One of the craziest storms I've been in for sure. But it was neat. It was actually cool getting to see that from like the mountain river perspective.
Yeah.
And I can see why people enjoy that. It is it's as scary as it is. It's fascinating to watch.
Well, that hurricane came through when we were out, so I was watching it because I was afraid that it was going to delay our Atlanta flight back.
This wasn't even that. This is just a crazy storm. But
that happened a week before the hurricane even came.
Yeah.
Speaking of drinking, so I too drink on vacation more than I've normally drank, because I've been cutting back.
Yeah.
But on vacation, I'm like, screw it.
You go a little harder
every day.
on vacation.
Every day I'm having some drinks,
a couple beers.
So, but my thing that I like to do on vacation is that there's a couple things. Well, first, and we're gonna have Crystal in so we could tell the story, but she got injured, and I finally injured her on some adventure that I planned.
Your adventures.
Now she was into it too, though.
I do feel like you need to reframe your trips. These are no longer vacations.
No.
These are quests.
There's no. I don't relax at all.
No relaxing here.
Like I'm happy to get back.
They're
so
family. I feel like they're family tests.
Which, by the way, my my friends Andres and Lan that were on the show, like on the Browns.
The Browns.
They
we love
came.
The Browns.
My buddy Alex and his wife and family came, and Fernando came. And so we had a bunch of friends out there, and I forget sometimes that and I realized this through memes and through reels, that there's this whole reels about the joke that when you vacation with someone, that one person is the get up, hike every morning, spend all your time outside doing hard work or whatever.
Right.
And then there's the people that like to vacation.
Yeah.
And actually
you can do
chill
a little
out.
bit of both. I mean, like.
Well, I chill out at the afternoon once we're done doing a bunch of hard ass work. That's when I start drinking. But other people like to just vacation and chill out on their vacation.
Some mornings,
of course,
I like to do the hard work of getting up at 6 a.m. and drinking 12 16-ounce beers. That's a lot of work.
It's everybody likes what they like to do, but I'm like in the mindset of like when I go out there, I want every day. I want to do something, hiking.
Is
or
it
something,
more of a motivation to do stuff, or is it more of a feeling that if you don't do stuff, you'll regret it? Because I feel it's more of the regret than.
Well, I just feel like I'm out here. We need to go out and see. You know, we need to like utilize and get the value.
Look at that cloud! Look at that mountain! Look at that grass! Look at it! Look at it!
Go do something, and then I like
move your feet.
Really, it's just with my sons. Like I don't know how motivated I'd be if it was just me by myself. Like I might go out for runs.
But you say they're not motivated about it. So how do you power through that?
I force them.
Okay.
Or, like, I've indoctrinated at least my sons to, when we go to Colorado or places, like, we get up and we go do something every day.
Right.
And there's no just, like, just hanging around. Let's see, like, we go and we'll have a plan every day. Anyway,
I like that.
That got me into injuring Crystal, which is going to get me into a hole I can never financially recover from.
That would have been bad.
Like Tiger King. Because now...
I noticed you're growing a mullet. You seem a little effeminate today.
She's got to go to the orthopedic now, and she may have torn her ACL. And this is going to be a long-term thing. Again, we'll have her in. It was mountain biking accident.
You guys love mountain biking.
It's a funny.
That was a joke.
We'll talk about
that. That was my joke.
Never done it. I've never even mountain biked before ever. But we saw it on. I saw it on a video, and I was like, "Oh, we could do that. This looks awesome." Anyway, but back to drinking. So the other days that we're doing like just regular hikes. And by the way, my number one piece of advice to everybody out there, and I've learned this. I've learned this over years of vacationing this way. Right? Okay. Anytime I spend $700 on something, I always have a better time doing the free stuff than the $700 thing.
Yeah,
and then
that's why I stayed at the house and tubed. I tubed 100 times.
So when you go and pay for the excursion, you go do the expensive 4-wheel or 4x4, whatever it is. Like it's never as good as just going to a hike and then eating epic lunch and then exploring or whatever. Like that's always better. And
having a sandwich at a waterfall is easily better. Than
the 4x4 tour. You go on the Jeep tour, the 4-wheeler tour. You're just it's like, oh, this is $800, and then you're just like, never as good.
Well, I have to. I
don't spend the money.
I did that. I was going to go to the Atlanta Falcons training camp, which is something I very much enjoy. My family enjoyed it last time we went. Last time we was in Flowery Branch, and this time it was at Mercedes-Benz, which means we would have to have driven in from LJ to Atlanta. And we were having so much fun just with our feet in mud, with the dog going crazy in the mud. Dansby loved it. He freaking loved the river. He enjoyed it. And that made Maisie love the river more. So those two just spending time in the river, I could stand on the bank. I could swim. It's like we didn't even make it. We had our tickets and we just canceled it. And we're like, nah, not going.
So the drinking thing. So we started doing this thing called Epic Lunch, and it goes by like this is a free thing that I would suggest that if you're on family vacations that you do that adds value to your lunch, right? So every morning I get up early. My family sleeps in, so I get up.
Very nice of you to do that. I sleep in and my family gets up.
Everybody's got, I think, one person in their family. The kids that got it real bad are the parents that both want to wake up early. And we have rough. So I wake up early, I make everybody's lunch, I put it in like a lunch backpack, and then we'll bring it, and then wherever we're at, we try to pick a lunch spot, like on a rock or on the side of a mountain or some place with a view, or and then just eat the lunch there. Instead of anywhere at a restaurant, I want to eat the lunch on a trail somewhere overlooking a mountain.
I took Maisie to Hooters while we were there. Pretty fun.
And then after, when we're leaving wherever we go hiking, I then have a roadie or a couple on the way back, right?
Yeah.
And then so I openly drink in the car. Crystal's driving, because she likes to drive, which I get some flack about. Whereas other men,
You're not allowed to do that.
No, well,
I have a beer in my pocket every time.
No, not the beer. Not the beer.
Oh, every time Andrea's driving me somewhere, there's a beer in my hand.
I feel like
most of the time
when I pull up somewhere and my wife's driving, other men, I see it in their eyes. They're like, I'm less of a man because my wife's driving.
Oh yeah.
Like, especially my truck.
Andrea's dad straight up looks down on me.
Yeah.
We pull up in her SUV. She's driving. The kid's in the back, and I'm sitting there like a what? Like a little,
yeah.
Lord Fauntleroy.
So anyway, but now if she wanted me to drive, I'll drive. Then I won't drink, obviously. But but the only reason that she drives is she gets car sick and she prefers to drive. Like me driving makes her car sick,
I don't think car sick is real.
Whatever.
I don't think it's a real thing.
So she wants to drive because it makes her feel better. So I'm like, no problem. That allows me for my roadies, right?
Yeah.
So it makes which is better,
dude. You should elevate it. Sit in the back with the boys and drink your beers.
So
way cooler.
Well,
like you're being chauffeured around by your wife.
They are getting to an age where, like, even on vacation, they do see me drinking a lot, and then I've
given up.
I do think I'm like, you don't have to worry about this because Maisie is she's going to be an Olympian.
I gave Maisie my ID, and she bought beer for me. I'm like, here, go in there and get a 12-pack.
She is by the book. She's never going to drink. My son's like Max is already. He gets shot glasses out of the.
Oh no!
And then he pours root beer and he's drinking.
Oh, yeah, that's your fault.
No, I know.
That's you.
And I'm like,
he's
stop.
like, look, adventure lunch or whatever. What's an epic lunch? Look at me, I'm daddy. I got a roadie. He's riding his bike around with a shot glass.
They already want to drink because they see me drive. I'm like, oh my god. Anyway,
but if they drink with you,
I don't know.
Right? That's my dream come true.
No.
Me and Maisie just playing video games and drinking tall boys all day. Oh my god.
I do not want them to drink alcohol.
No, I know.
But anyway,
because it gets serious.
So as I'm and I know this is technically against the law, but there is no good reason I could think of at all that I shouldn't be allowed to drink in the passenger seat of our car.
Is the reason because they think the person driving had a sip?
I think
it's drinking adjacent.
It's something like that. In most, some states, I don't even think have an open container law. Like I know Florida does. I'm pretty sure Colorado does too. So, technically, you get a ticket for it having an open container, even if the driver doesn't drink.
You absolutely can.
And so, and it's one of those things where I think it's just a fine, it's like a ticket, whatever.
Do they pour your beer out? Because that'd be embarrassing.
I'm never going to stop doing it. Because I'm not hurting anybody, and this is awesome. I
have a hard problem doing that. Like, I think if they were like, sir, we're going to need you to get out of the car, especially if I've already had a couple. They're going to, sir, we're going to need you to get out of the car and pour that beer out. I'd be like, I don't want to. I'm not doing it.
I think once you stop.
How far can it go? How far can it go? Can I go like, I'm not doing it? And then they're like, sir? And then I'm like, okay. Or they, sir? And I'm like, I'm not doing it. They're like, well, tase you. I'm like, that's how far I wanted to take it.
Well, I was about to say, it depends on what race you are.
That is true.
Yeah. I think you'll be just fine. But other people may not want to take their chance.
I forgot
especially in Georgia.
I forgot to mention I had a sombrero on.
Also, I forget that the higher you go, the better the weather is. So I'll explain. So once Crystal hurt her leg, we had to cancel some of our plans for Sunday.
Oh God!
Because
was it more
she couldn't
aggressive?
walk.
We went from mountain biking,
no.
It was like hang gliding.
Me and Crystal were
then it was synchronized diving, cliff diving.
We were going to go to Mount Sopris and hike it up to the top, but obviously she can't with her leg. Her knee is hurt.
Did you think about carrying her?
No, impossible. Okay.
Right.
Well, have you ever tried to carry a grown adult?
No, I never have.
It's, unless they are like Shaq's wife or like some petite, it is. I mean, you're not carrying them far.
Vin Schroyer. I can't even carry Maisie, dude. She's like 80 pounds. It's a lot.
If you try to fireman's carry a grown adult, you're not getting far.
I was thinking more of like you and a team of your other adventurers that want to carry her up, so she can see the sights.
No, not so. We pivoted, and there's this place called Grand Mesa that's like an hour and a half from where we were staying, and I've never even heard of it, but it's like
Big Corn. Is that what that means?
It's apparently the world's largest flat top mountain. So it's basically a gigantic mountain that's flat on top, where it has a bunch of lakes or whatever up there, and it's a national park.
Cool.
And so when we went up there, and when we left the house, and like we're already in the mountains in Glenwood Springs or whatever,
it's pretty high.
94 degrees. So I'm like, God, it's going to be a hot ass day. And then we're all like, should we go? The kids are going to be miserable. It's going to be hot as hell.
You have to factor that in.
Yeah, well, but what I didn't factor in is that because Grand Mesa is 10,000, 11,000 feet in elevation or whatever, it's 61 degrees up there. That's the difference. In,
party time.
We got up there, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm dancing around. I'm like, holy crap. And then it dawned on me, I'm like, man, if we're in Florida, it's hot as balls, right? I'm like, but 10,000 feet up, cool. Yeah. It's cool up
there.
We
need a tower. we need a tower to climb.
If we were able to get 10,000 feet up, I think it's in the 60s up there.
Is that your idea? We got to build mountains here.
I forget that. Elevation, it gets colder.
Well, it's also amazing.
How stupid I am.
It's also amazing to me that just 7 to 9 hours up the road into Georgia, it can stay like a consistent 75 degrees the entire day, and then the sun will still roast you good. It will.
Yeah.
Because it's still Georgia mountain laser sun, and it'll burn you good. But
it's cool in the mornings.
Cooler.
Like, that's where you escape. Like, I forget, like, even when I was looking at the weather in Colorado, I was like, it's highs in the 90s.
Even the shade in Georgia is better. You get in the shade, you're like, oh, this is fine. I can sit here and fish in the shade. It can be 90, it's fine.
The numbers trick you because you look at the numbers, you're like, same as Florida. High of 92 was just as hot. And then you get out there, you're like, oh, yeah, it is way better. These people got it way better. And they're bitching about how hot it is. I'm like, you don't even know people.
Yeah.
Like,
you have no clue.
Like, if it is a swamp heat that you've never experienced.
Yeah,
like,
we did some
local Colorado, the lady was like on the trail talking about how hot it's been lately. Yeah. I'm like, this is beautiful, like, comparatively.
This restaurant that Maisie likes to go to that's inside the city of LJ, and you can go there. It's a really good little spot. It's called The Roof. And she goes and she gets boiled peanuts and peel and eat shrimp, and we sit on the roof of this place and we look out over LJ. They did something that I don't know if it just wouldn't work here because we're too intensely hot and too humid, but they had personal misters for everybody, and they were really fancy. Like, it was like it looked very much like your mosquito net system, where it was like really tiny tubing, right?
Yeah.
And it's woven into the decorative, like, hipster lights that kind of hang down. And it would have like this little nozzle, and it would blow out like a perfect ice cold mist on you, like, while you're sitting outside of the bar.
No, that's nice.
And I was like, dude, this is fantastic. But then I kind of got to thinking about it. I was like, I don't even know if this would make a dent in, like, Atlanta heat or Orlando heat. Like, I don't know.
We don't need a mister. It's all, the world is a mist. It's so humid outside. I don't need more wet in my face here. It's like right when I walk out the door, my face is wet. So, and then I'll tell you the whole story. There's a couple stories of Crystal that we're going to bring her in tomorrow for Friday's ACD.
We had a black bear.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it eating out your trash like a raccoon?
Yeah, we tried to find it. And it didn't eat out of our trash because Andrea put a big old rock. Well, it got us once. And the lady, we did a lot of firsts. They've never had bears get into their trash on that particular road, and we were the first. And they've never had a power outage on that road, and we were the first.
Really?
Yeah, like, it was like a lot of firsts. But this bear, I have a picture of its paw was about it's a little bit bigger than a softball. It looked pretty big from its paw print, but it would go down into where we were at, open all the trash cans, pull out the bags. It's funny, it doesn't eat the bags down there. It takes the bags up. And it grabs all the bags, and it sits at the top of the mountain with a bunch of trash bags around it, just digging through the trash, eating the food.
Yeah.
Very smart.
all those bears are just scavengers.
Yeah.
And
I just thought it was
want
funny
garbage.
they didn't want to do it there. They grabbed everything. It's like cleaning up your stuff and then taking it up the mountain and then like, okay, this is a good spot. Let's have our picnic.
Yeah, but it's probably because they've been scared away there by people. Get out of the trash or whatever, so they take it
It's like
somewhere
when
else.
you shoplift, you just walk out with it. We'll check it later.
I saw a brown bear. It's the first time I ever saw a brown bear, and it's funny because
That's eerie.
So we were, and it's not a grizzly bear. It's just a regular brown bear, which is similar to a black bear. It's just brown, I guess. It's like, but so
I'll write that down.
Because people see a brown bear like a grizzly bear.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh man, that's a man eater.
A grizzly is a different species, and that's insanely rare to see an actual grizzly bear. Now, I don't know, but I'm virtually certain, like, there's brown bear, like black bear.
Which would you rather see? A brown bear, a black bear, or Dog the Bounty Hunter?
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, in public, me too.
But it's funny because I was standing in line. We saw it at Snowmass Mountain during the mountain bike thing. Or it may have been during when we went up there for like a day trip because they have like the fishing and the roller coaster or whatever.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So,
Alpine coaster's dope.
So you ride the ski lift down, but before that there was a dad standing in line to pay, and then the son was like grabbed some bear mace because they sell it to tourists there because
smart.
they never need it.
Fear mongering.
But so the kid's like, should we need this? And then the dad was like, oh no, we don't see a bear. And then I was laughing at them. I'm like, yeah, it's insanely rare to see a bear. You won't need that. And then I joked. I was like, but this will be funny because it'll be the last thing you think about if you do. Or we're making a joke. And then I was like, oh, there's one. Like literally an hour later, I was like, oh, there's one. And I was like, I hope the dad was riding up the damn chairlift and like that other guy said they'll never see a bear.
100%.
Because I've never seen one.
No,
out
but
there.
that's what happens when you say things like this whole cabin we stayed in. The whole motif of it is all bears. Like everything in it is bears. There's bears everywhere. And Maisie's like, why is it all bears? She's like, I don't see any bears out here. I'm like, baby, there's no bears around here.
No.
There is. There were bears, and they were stealing the trash.
Yeah. But all they did, and that's the thing. People like have irrational fears about bears because they hear like the story.
I wanted to see. We'd get up every night, like when we had to pee. In the middle of the night, I'd go around and look at all the windows
of course.
to see if I could see the bear.
Yeah. Like
we never saw him.
If you get the opportunity to see a bear, it's insanely rare and cool to see.
Cool.
Yeah. It's not gonna, every 1 in a million, some hunter wanders across some bear with cubs and it kills them good, or like some.
Those are the ones we remember.
Some scientist is in some remote part of Alaska and it eats him and his wife, but they've been. I mean,
those are different bears.
Those
are real bears.
Also, these people are in the remote area where it's bear country. It's like people are on some vacation and then they're like, "Oh, we better be careful." Like, you're never gonna run into a bear. You'd be lucky if you did. It'd be awesome. To see.
Yeah, we had a family of Canadian geese that would visit us every morning. 14 geese. They would fly and they would land on the rocks in front of us.
I saw the videos of that.
And we would tube down the mountain to the geese, and then they'd honk at us, and Dansby would bark at them, but they wouldn't go away, and they stayed there basically the whole trip until right before we left, and then they took off. They the one we called him Pedro. I don't know why, but the one leader of the geese was like the bigger one. He would stand on a rock in the middle of the river, and he would stand on the same rock all day. Dude, this goose this Canadian goose stood on this rock for like 10 hours. It's the same rock. And then when he wanted to go, he looked at everybody and he was like, honk, and then everybody, boom, and then they took off. He was like the leader. He was the leader of the geese. Pedro, the leader of the geese. The Canadian geese are cool, dude.
Yeah, that's something I have no idea what.
They were.
It's funny because you get out of Florida, it's like geese and all these other things. You're like,
we found little scorpions.
I don't know what's up with that. Beetlejuice.
Maisie found some little scorpions, but I don't think they're scorpions. Kind of looks like a lobster, but it's like a river lobster.
Yeah.
We found all kinds of crazy stuff.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is. We couldn't. And a lot of times when you're out there, technology is awesome, and you have the Seek app where you can hit it with a picture and it'll tell you what it is. But there was no service out there. I was not on my phone on this trip at all.
Yeah.
I was way off my phone. It was good.
Yeah, just taking a break from screens. Although I say that my son's on screens every night because with their friends because that's what they do.
That's how you talk.
Yeah, all the kids go down, and then I go downstairs, and then they're all just on their screens playing video. I'm like, look outside, even though it's nighttime. I'm like, are you going to play Manhunt or something? I'm like, ah.
No.
Anyway.
Digital Manhunt's pretty awesome.
So we'll be back to normal scheduled shows. Yep. We'll have, of course, everything that normally we do. We wanted to tell a little bit about our trip.
We're back. If you want to hear the real adventure stories or maybe the stuff that we are not alluding to here, you can find it at tomanddan.com and sign up to be a BDM because we always have new little things we talk about there.
Yeah, I'm going to bring Crystal in tomorrow, and we'll tell how she blew out her knee and some other stuff because we did some cliff jumping, and there was a guy there named Young, or my friends are calling Young TC. So anyway, we'll tell the story. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
So it's Science Night Live this Saturday at the Orlando Science Center.
What is Science Night Live?
Well, that's a perfect question, Daniel, and I'll let Jeff explain because Jeff is here from the Orlando Science Center, and but it's an adult-only night that you could explore the Science Center, get really cool, unique experiences and
talks, expo type deal.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Tom. So you're our unofficial PR guy at the Science Center.
Well, I like asking a question than answering it.
We do a lot of that.
It's a lot easier for me that way.
We do a lot of that. Most of the time, what we do is we tell you about it, and then we end it with we end it on an uptick, so it's like a question. We're like, where you can go, and it's an adult night where you can, maybe have some beverages and get a talk or something, and then you go, "That's right, Dad," and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm so great!"
It is a cool thing that we do several times a year. Science Night Live. We open the Science Center up just for folks 21 up, and have lots of cool things for them to do: exhibits, telescopes, trivia, movies. Special guests. We're doing this one coming up Saturday here, August 10th. It's themed around our Science and Guinness World Records exhibit, and we got some awesome folks doing some talks and presentations, like the young lady that I brought with me today.
Woo-woo.
Yes, and speaking of this young lady that has an incredible background of experience.
Website I've ever been on. Like, you have the nicest resume of things that I think are cool that you've accomplished I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Amazing.
April Jennifer Choi is here, and she is a mechanical engineer at Kennedy Space Center, full-time circus performer.
Not anymore.
Former full-time circus performer with multiple Guinness Book of World Records.
So many, I can't even read them all out because there's 20, 15 or
21.
21
as of
21.
Today.
Yeah.
As of what, you do a new one in the car?
There's some pending that I haven't released yet.
Nice.
So Jennifer, thanks for
appreciate
coming.
the time.
Jennifer's going to be at Science Night Live on Saturday too. Talking and
showing. Basically,
explaining what she does, the physics behind what she does, and let's talk how you had this whole thing started, Jennifer. So, how did you even get into because you have multiple world records that consist of whips? And whipping things.
Yep.
So how did that even start? And tell us about how long the whip is and just everything about it.
Whip us into shape.
Yeah, it all started on this first date with a guy. I'm kidding.
Yeah, it might. You never know.
No, I was a dancer for a very long time, like everybody. For a lot of people I know, their parents put them in dance classes. So
my
I
daughter
danced for
is in dance.
Exactly.
She's got the bug. She does it 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday. She loves it. It's her favorite thing in the world. Will she graduate to whips?
I don't know.
Because I like that.
I'll get her a whip.
Get her a whip. I support that. I support that. Okay, yeah. So you were a dancer for a very long time. It's really hard, really athletic. I've learned that through I used to sort of be the guy that make fun of it.
You're an athlete.
Yeah, you're an athlete. If you're a dancer, you're 100% an athlete.
Yeah, so I got invited to teach dance and choreography at a bunch of different athletic events, including circus festivals and circus camps. So they have instructors that come in from all over the world, and they're teaching various circus arts. So one of them was a whip cracking instructor. What? So I went to that class and then got to be good friends with him. So then he started teaching me whip stuff.
And so, did you just like fall in love with it, or like what was about the whip that caused you to like want to get better at it?
So conveniently, he was also a fire performer, and my undergraduate degree was focused in combustion, and my graduate degree was focused in computational fluid dynamics, specifically compressible flows, which means anything that's moving, well, not anything, but air that's moving at super high velocities, so supersonic, hypersonic, so therefore you have variations in density. So I studied shock waves and fire productions and fire performances as part of like my degree, which then helped out quite a bit, as well as flexible body dynamics, solid body dynamics, kinematics, which allowed me to use a lot of that knowledge into engineering and developing whips myself.
So
That's insane. So the actual science of the whip, the what is it? A mini sonic boom that happens?
It's not a mini. It is a genuine sonic boom.
Yeah. At the end, how does that work? Can you walk me through that?
Explain what the crack of the whip is.
So there's lots of different ways of cracking a whip. I think most people have kind of seen the Castlevania or Indiana Jones way, also known as an overhand
So
whip
many
or
points
circus
for
whip.
the Castlevania reference. I mean, there's so many points. I
know
her
the
a lot.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I'm more of a Castlevania guy.
Yeah.
Well done. Yeah.
I'm more of a Dodo Jones, as they call me.
Yeah.
So the key point of physics here is going to be a conservation of momentum. So you're holding the entire whip, you're swinging it behind you, you're throwing it forwards. The entire mass of the whip is moving forward. Now, whips are tapered so that they'll have a mass taper, which means starting at one end, it'll continuously drop down in diameter, which means it also drops down in mass density. It's not actually density that's changing, but relatively speaking to the rest of the whip, the mass is decreasing because the cross-section area is increasing. So as mass goes down, velocity goes up in order to maintain conservation of momentum. Obviously, some of that's shed to drag, but essentially that makes the velocity go really, really high when the mass is very, very small. So at the very end, that tip is called a popper or a cracker. It's moving so fast that it's exceeding the speed of sound, creates a bow shock, and that bow shock is what you hear is that distinctive crack.
Can I ask you about Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like she explains things so well. Like, yeah,
Because this has always bothered me,
that
Jennifer.
actually made a ton of sense. I appreciate that.
When
Thank you.
Indiana Jones wanted to cross some sort of pit of spikes or
Yep.
alligator
Yeah.
pit, he'd whip a pipe or something.
it would wrap around like
then
35 times.
Yeah, it'd
Yeah.
wrap around, and that I can get behind. I'm like, all right, I can see that happening. And then,
Yep.
and then when he swing across.
Yep.
And then when he got
he
to
would
the other side,
unfurl, yeah.
and then when he got to the other side, he'd do a little wrist action, and then it'd somehow take it off the pipe. And I always, even as a kid, was like, he wouldn't be able to get it off there. Once he put his full weight on there, it would it'd be stuck on there basically. He'd never be
know.
able to. So, what do you think, Jennifer?
What says you?
So a couple of things with that particular whip. It was made by David Morgan out of Australia. He made most of the Indiana Jones whips. He has unfortunately passed away, and his art is being continued by his grandson, Alex. So that particular whip actually had a steel cable running through it to be able to give the supported weight, because leather is not as strong as nylon. So a lot of the nylons we use is made out of what's known as paracord or 550 cord, which means its test strength is 550 pounds. So that fall alone can support 500 pounds and easily support a person. Part two is if you're rock climbing, you'll know we changed from single point anchors to double point anchors and now doing these barrel anchors, which means it has to wrap 1.5 times around. Generally speaking, if you're allowed to put a minimal amount of tension on one side of rope and you get 3 full rotations about something, it will have enough frictional force to stay. As long as the friction coefficient is above roughly around the 0.5 area, if you wrap something 3 times around and have minimal tension, like it can't be 0, have just a minimal amount of tension, it'll support that entire wrap because you're doing 3 full rotations. So as you pull the other side, it's tightening up. So then if you've ever wrapped your cord around something, pulled it, you'll know there's a lot of friction right there. You release it, it will wrap. Then the type of crack that's used, usually you don't try to use an overhand crack when you're trying to swing onto something. I end up using an underhand crack, and the reason being is when you're doing it underhand, it's wrapping over this. It's a lot easier to see how it's being wrapped over, and then you can throw your whip to cover the tail. So if you're covering the tail, then it will wrap around and hold. Then you can swing, support your weight underneath it, and then that unwrap will let go of it as well.
You have
so
mesmerized
oh
the
my
chat
God.
room. Everybody's just like listening to you. They're watching your hat. They're looking how cool you look. They're hearing everything you say, and they're just like, "Oh my God, I got to go to Science Night Live. I got to go to this."
So Jennifer,
Wow.
So I can understand you're obviously
Underhand whip crack.
super smart person, and you get into learning how the whip works, and you're
Oh, she
pulling
got a
out your
whip.
whip right now.
I got a lot of whips. I got like 300 at home.
300 whips.
So how do you get
Holy
to the point
smokes.
where you get so good at it that you're able to break multiple Guinness Book of World Records? Because I imagine there's a lot of other men.
Whippers?
out there. Yeah, what
Are they called whippersnappers?
Yeah, we use that term a lot.
Oh, yeah. On the board. Take that.
So there's a
He
lot
looked at
of-
me like I was stupid.
A lot of other whippersnappers out there
It's fun to say, isn't it?
that have probably gotten pretty good at whipping things. But so how did you
She's-
become the best?
She's become one of our favorite guests. The chat room is just melting.
I'm definitely not the best. Like in the U.S. alone, we have Jack the Whip Bear. We have Adam Winwich, I think, holds the most number of
Jack
Guinness
the
World
Whip
Records.
Bear.
Yeah.
Jack the Whip Bear.
Yes, he has a lovely French accent. He's super popular on TikTok right now.
What?
Oh, okay.
Aaron Bonk has a number of whip records, so there's a large number of people. One of my favorite artists is Leo Orleans. Star Power, like she's just those people are some of the biggest inspirations.
Are there
to
a
me.
lot of lady
Hold on,
or
whipper
women
crackers.
whipper crackers or snappers? Like, because I feel like you stand out. Like you're very pretty and you have other
Thank
interests
you.
that you're into. You know, you're kind of like rock and roll-y, you know, like that. So
Yeah.
I would think that you would stand out. Or are there a lot of ladies doing this?
It is definitely still the minority for women to be in whip cracking. So, like, we go to whip cracking festivals, and there's just not as many as I personally would like to see. So, it's always been a mission of mine to encourage more women and people of color to join this type of
Sure.
art, circus arts in general.
Is it it's not a strength thing, right? Is it more of a finesse thing? Because I would imagine you don't need to, like, if you're a bigger dude, that's not going to make you crack a whip better, right?
Yeah, one of my favorite things that I've done is I broke the world record for the longest whip ever cracked, and it's like me tiny. I actually gave the challenge of, hey, we have a couple hours before the surveyors show up to verify the full length. Anybody, you're more than welcome to just try and crack this whip. Because
Oh, I
at that
love that.
time, it was like 260 feet long, and we're like, give it a shot. And like, so many people, these big burly guys are trying to crack the whip
Yeah.
and they can't get it. And it's because they don't have their, what we refer to as planes, like the plane of movement. They don't have their planes clean enough, so it just kind of fiddles out.
So 260 feet long the whip is,
Yeah.
and you're able to crack it.
Yeah.
by
And you're
put-
using your knowledge, but then am I correct in thinking that you know how to whip it? The reason these guys are gassing out the whip,
Yep.
so to speak, for lack of a better term, is that you know how to get the most efficient whip crack.
That is it.
Yeah, it's all about the efficiency of getting that energy down the line and tapering it down and get that little, well, actual sonic boom.
Yeah,
Not
so
little. I said little. But
I've cracked whips up to 364.5 feet long.
Oh my God, that's crazy!
I-
that you could that the energy would even travel that far to be able to crack it at the end.
Is the crack a softer crack, or is it the same?
Yeah, as long as it is a distinct crack. So witnesses or sonic sound engineers can verify that is a distinct crack. It counts.
That's
So,
amazing.
Jennifer, let's go over some of the other records that you hold too.
Well, do we have
because-
enough time? Good
Yeah,
Lord.
yeah,
Get your
there's a-
encyclopedia out.
I mean, one of them, most fire hoops spun.
Yep.
So how
We're
many-
into fire. We hired some. We have these new Hawaiian friends of ours that came and put on a luau for us.
Yeah.
Rex and his
Yeah.
team. They came and they were doing fire knives and they were flipping on, and we loved it so much. And you do that sort of thing. You do
Yep,
fire
that is
knives.
correct.
Dude, I love it.
So how many hoops and what was that record?
That record was most number of fire hoops spun at the same time. The person who held it before me was part of a troupe named, I forgot the first one. It was something Fireflies. I saw her do that and I was like, that's a super cool one that I want to train for. So I ended up training for that, getting a bunch of fire hoops, practicing it to make sure I can sustain them on my waist.
Where do you
while
get a
body
fire
hooping.
hoop from? You get
There
Amazon?
are lots of places you can get fire hoops from. Like, I would say Google it. You can look on a lot of social media forums to find people. I'm not going to name specific vendors,
Sure.
but there are numbers that I really, really like.
That's awesome.
So Jennifer, I just noticed, like, even when you came in here, you were practicing with juggling around fans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then I observed this, and then just listening to you talk for a while, and then talking about, because a lot of these things are just pure determination and practice, right? And then so it dawned on me, I'm like, you just probably have a personality that once you focus on something, you can be determined enough to practice until you nail it. Is that kind of accurate?
I liked the term focused procrastination,
Okay.
I am really good at not doing the thing I'm supposed to do by doing things that find more interesting.
Oh, I love that.
I wrote a book.
That's what I do, and my wife yells at me all the time.
Yeah,
I should tell her I could be a
that's true.
world record holder like Jennifer.
Well, you don't wear a hat. You don't look cool.
yeah. And I don't like hard work, and I'm not talented at all.
Yeah, so I did things like I wrote a separate book other than my thesis because I just I don't really want to write my thesis. I'm just going to write this. And then eventually there was enough of that content to maybe do a book. So then there'll be a bunch of things where I'm like, oh man, I have to do all these calls or whatever. I'm just going to sit there and practice throwing a yo-yo or stuff. So then I'll drill and sit there and practice a yo-yo while I'm doing some meeting over here. And next thing you know, I'm getting really, really good at yo-yos.
Oh, that's awesome. I had a yo-yo time for a minute. I got really into it. The Smothers Brothers got me into it because of Yo-Yo Man. Oh, I loved it. They were the only ones that sold wooden yo-yos. Oh, less friction. They were great.
One of the speaking of like learning how to do something on when you're having a meeting or whatever, the most shuffles or rifle shuffles, the deck of playing cards. So how'd you learn how to do that?
I am very lucky that I have a community of magicians that I get to regularly talk with.
All right.
So I got to hey, I'm trying to do this record. These are the ways I'm thinking about it. And oh, you can have more economy of motion if you end up going instead of longitudinally, you go latitudinally across the deck. So therefore it minimizes the amount of motion you need. You could square this faster instead of having to remove your hands to put this. If you bring your pinky around and square the deck immediately. Oh, did you know you could do a card string instead of an overhand thumb card spring? You can do it underhand or and vice versa. Messed around that, coming up with these very efficient methodologies. So then I had a magic consultant just be like, hey, what do you think of this? And oh man, that's really, really good. You can get really fast at that. So then I practiced that specific style of shuffling. As I'm just sitting there talking to people, I always need to have something in my hands. So I'm just playing with it, doing it faster and faster and faster, and feel okay, I think this is a thing that I can go for.
So
The chat room thinks you're smitten with her determination.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Well, you're a mixture of Neil
I believe
deGrasse
this is a
Tyson.
taken woman. I mean, but you're into it because she is hyper focused.
Neil deGrasse Tyson and David Blaine. You're a mixture of people.
Yeah.
Well, this
Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
You're the physics behind all these different feats
or why
and
you're
math,
doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
I'm
and-
sure there are a lot of people that crack whips that just know I know how to make that thing go crazy, but they
Yep.
don't know the science.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Some other records are most flowers crack whipped in a minute. And was it just another situation where you're I could crack whip pretty quickly? And
How many is it, by the way?
I think that one was 55.
Jesus, that's almost a second.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
And that it also implies insane accuracy to do that. So how accurate are you out with cracking a whip on something?
I am consistently, I would say I'm 50% of the time within 2 inches. I am 95% of the time within a 4-inch target, and I am 99.9% of the time in a 6-inch target.
So with a 6-inch target,
Let's put an apple. Let's put an apple on your head and crack
I
your
got
eyeball.
flowers.
Could you whip a flower out of my mouth?
Oh yeah, we
Oh, no. All right, we're doing that
right now.
Is that okay, Jeff? I didn't even check with Jeff.
You know what? It's
I mean,
it's
I
I didn't
all
even
good
check
for
with
me.
Jeff. You know what? That's not fair. I just said, let's do it.
Hey, you know what?
The boss
It's a-
is sitting right here.
It's a great preview for what's going to happen Saturday night at Orlando Science
Okay.
Center. So let's do it.
I think you're fascinated. This is like
Okay.
Jeff always brings in some of our most favorite guests.
we-
Jeff always brings them in, but you have you may have taken the crown.
we would have to do this in the lobby. So
I got
maybe
cameras out there.
do it. yeah. I mean, now before we do the stunt, which is by
you can end with it. You can end with it. We got time. We got time.
I didn't know this was Radio Stunt Day.
You got excited. Look how happy he got. Look
I was mad the whole morning.
He was mad all
And
morning.
now
He had a bad morning.
I get to do a radio stunt. I
he
feel
didn't-
alive
he
again.
didn't know that there was going to be a cool rock and roll
Physicist.
scientist that
Yeah.
would come and whip flowers on your mouth with a whip. That's dope, dude.
This is the best recording they ever had.
He loves his job again.
So, Jennifer, are there any, before we do the stunt, are there any records that you tried to do and you just couldn't get there? There's maybe you're a white whale of records, or maybe you're still trying
Why are you
for
bringing up the
Yep.
stuff that make her mad right before she whips your flowers? I'd whip his nose right off.
There are a lot of records that we got really close to, and something about like either the paperwork or they didn't quite get a right view. Or one of the ones that I'm like super proud of, but also kind of super sad about, was a record that was the most number of whip cracks, was specifically fire whip cracks. And the first time I attempted this record, I did not think about like having to tell the audience to wait. So I'm doing all these whip cracks, and it's like 45 seconds in, and they know no one's counting because it's like 250 cracks a minute, so it's a lot. So they just start cheering, and unfortunately the rules are you have to have a distinctive crack, so you get a sound engineer to level those peaks. But the crowd was cheering so loud that it took over the microphone, and all of a sudden you couldn't see those clips as it goes out to the outside of the microphone range to see that it was a distinctive crack. So that entire range didn't count. So I had to do it again.
Oh, that's
my
so
God.
Yeah.
I hope it's so you run out there. What do you stop? Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah,
You
so
ruined it.
You're ruining my life.
a couple other ones later on, we're like, okay, we're going to count down to make sure we're close. But I have to tell everybody here, you have to stay quiet until the record is like confirmed. Otherwise, we can't tell.
Sure. Yeah. It's probably not fun to do it with just you, some friends, and the judge, right? Like,
Yeah.
You want to have the energy or people there. You want it to be sort of a
Yeah,
spectacle.
doing it for a live audience is
Give
way
me one
better.
more on there.
Well, I mean, you have most Jenga blocks whipped out of. So how?
does
by
that
the way,
work?
Are these records that you see that have been established first, and then you're
get
like,
napkin.
oh yeah,
Yeah, we got you.
I get you. Hold on.
My apologies.
No, you're fine. Don't even worry about it.
I didn't expect to get wet this
Yeah,
quickly.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, it happens. Like it's Florida. Florida. It's always wet around here. Oh, do we not have any paper towel? Oh, yeah, we do. Okay.
Thank you so much, Tom.
One tiny paper towel.
Why?
And it's not even a paper towel. It's toilet paper.
no, that's a hand towel.
So what are your personal hand towels? You don't even give me those.
Well, what happened is I ran out and I realized we have no more paper towels.
We don't have anything.
Yeah.
Since Sam left, we haven't ordered any supplies. I've been writing with my own blood.
She was the one that told
I've
us.
been writing with my own blood. My finger. I prick it every morning.
She was the one that told us we had to order more
Well,
supplies.
she didn't tell us. She'd scream at us.
Then I looked inside our office to see if there's some shirts laying around, but then I was like, I can't give Jennifer a shirt.
You
She's
could
too
have.
smart.
She's going to be one of your dirty shirts.
She's going to leave and she'll be like, that was horrible.
The dumb one handed me a shirt.
And I'm pretty sure like the super influential people in this world could probably have me killed.
Yeah, if she wanted to.
So, going back to like how you choose the records, do you just does someone tell you about them? And when you see them, like you do the math in your head, you're like, I could break that?
Depends on what the record are. When I started, a lot of it was just conversations with people, and they would ask the question, "Oh, what's the world's longest whip? What's who's the fastest whip cracker?" Things like that. And they're like, I don't know the answer to that. I have to go do a quick Google search. It's like, oh, look at this. This record was held by Adam Winrich, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one.
Adam.
It's like, yeah. So
He's the
eventually,
guy?
yeah, he is the guy. Like
Yeah.
in the U.S., like hands down, in my opinion, the best whip cracker in the United States. The
I
most
think-
Guinness records, the most shows. Dang.
This year, I'm going for smallest whip.
That would
there-
be Nick Schrader.
And Nick Schrader did
Yep.
smallest whip?
Yep.
I'm coming for you, Nick. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for smallest whip.
So is it just pure training how to get better at whip cracking, or is there a mental aspect that we're not thinking about, or is it just like training muscle memory so that you know the motion and you just get faster and faster at that? Like, I'm like, is there anything we can equate it to? Like, I see the Rubik's Cube, like
Yep.
world record people,
Oh, yeah.
and it seems to them they're just constant training and then
But
constant
do you
testing
dabble in
themselves.
sort of all of this stuff?
Yeah. Like I
feel
trained
you-
for Rubik's Cube.
Yeah,
for quite
I
a
feel
bit.
really?
like, see,
Yeah.
that's like every time we ask her about, like, we've been like slaying on whips, and I kind of feel like I think you dabble in almost everything, right? Is it hard for you? And this is the question I've been sitting on for a second. Is it hard for you to narrow down your interests?
Yeah, absolutely. There's always something new every week when I'm like, you know what? This time I need to try to do arrow catching while dragged behind a horse on a skateboard,
Yeah.
and my wife is shooting me.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay, yeah. And on the picture of your website, I believe it's you and your wife, and
That is
like,
correct.
aren't you both set on fire or something?
Yep.
It's it's
Wow.
they're standing in these beautiful wedding gowns, I believe. I don't know if it was
Yep,
like
those are wedding gowns.
but and then they're all on fire.
That's amazing.
It's insane.
You have the life I want.
If you just Google flaming lesbian brides, make sure you're on Google and not like Pornhub or something.
Yeah.
And then we'll be like the first 5 out of 10 search
There you go.
results.
And it's beautiful photography and really, really cool. Kind of gives you an idea of her vibe.
Is there any record that you're like, this will take too long to learn and not worth the amount of effort it would take? Or are you not
man.
like that? Or you like the challenge?
I tried for some of them. Like one of them was most bullwhip cracks in a minute. Adam Winrich, who held the record before. Well, while I was training for it, when I intended to go for it, and I started asking him questions, hey, help me out. He's like the world's nicest guy, seriously. So he's like, hey, this is the whip I used and why I used this whip. He then mailed it to me so I could train with that specific whip, and it was like the handle dimensions, the thong weight, the thickness, the counterbalance, and he's like, oh yeah, try where your hand should be, because you go further up this way, you'll reduce the torque. You go further down, you get more leverage, so it's a balance there. And then I was just training for it for so long, and I couldn't get that close, and then I knew Jacques Lepierre, he's Jacques the Whipper, he said he was going to go for it. I'm like, okay, if you want this whip, you can. And like he posted on TikTok and social media, like this was one of the worst records that I decided to go to. Like it was for him, and he's a big, strong guy who does a lot of baseball. Like his grip strength's already phenomenal. And he's like, no, I had to then work out. I had to change my diet. I had to give up carbs. I had to like weightlift.
It changes diet?
Strength. Yeah, so that you could build up the endurance and the strength to be able to do that record. I'm like, thank God I didn't do that.
Okay.
But would you have had to maybe approach it a different way, being smaller, or would it not have
Yeah,
worked?
not that one.
Gotcha.
That one is
Gotcha.
just, it's so much forearm strength. It's just like, and you get tired so quickly. It's like, I'm going to go something that requires a little more finesse.
How do you train for whip? Are you training just your forearms, or do you go to the gym to do that? Or
It depends on what it was. So like for longest whip, like you have gym routines that you can build up like shoulder strength, but that one I ended up getting like this 5-foot long aluminum pipe or tube actually, and then adding weight to the end and like securing that down so I could get up and lift it. So I actually gave myself tendonitis training for that record because I was trying to run and snap it and pull back and push, and I kept pushing against my ankle so much I got tendonitis from it.
Wow. Are you training for anything currently?
I have several things that I kind of keep in my back pocket that I'm like, this would be fun. So then I like play around with it. I see, okay, this is
the
what I
whip
need
in
to
her
learn.
back pocket?
Yeah.
Are you big into social media as well? And like,
I was starting into it before I got this current job that I have, and then like I just kind of full-time performing is no longer what I do, so I ended up transitioning over to more of a technical role, and then I haven't kept up with social media near as much.
Gotcha, because it just seems like you have an insanely interesting life. You know what I'm saying?
Your
Like,
day job now, do you work at Kennedy Space Center, or
Yep,
at the Cape?
Yeah, that is correct.
And what do you do there?
So I'm transitioning roles. I mean, I still am doing management for ground systems, so all the stuff that touches the ground for mechanical and aerospace. And then I'm transitioning into the flight side, so doing the analysis for flight systems.
Have you been following any of the astronauts and the?
Yes, I have definitely been keeping updated.
Yeah. I was just reading it as of this morning that they even offered up the possibility for SpaceX to bring them home in the, what is that one, the Dragon? I think that's what that's called.
Yeah. And
Yep,
listen,
SpaceX has Crew Dragon.
no offense to other engineers, but I've seen movies, and you have to be the most interesting engineer
Yeah,
around.
by far. I got a lot of engineer friends, and they are not fun to be around. And you're very fun. Like, we can talk to you, like,
Pretty
literally
dull.
for hours. Horrible. And, like, I didn't even look at that. I just went right for the whips. I forgot about the engineering part.
Also, violin. You can play the violin and
Yeah.
tell
And
me
the bass. He plays a bass.
So like, did you one day you're like, I want to learn violin? How did that come about?
I don't even remember. I feel like somewhere when I think it was 4th or 3rd grade when they first introduced string instruments. And then they brought in a whole bunch of string instruments into music class. You got to like try them and explain it. And I, for some reason, chose the violin. I don't remember the exact reason why. So my mom rented out a violin to me. And then I did violin from like 4th grade all the way through finishing high school with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of. You are a dedicated human being.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
like,
what I
she
yeah.
started in 4th
Were you
grade
born-
and ended like regular school doing it.
So
Yep.
Jennifer, were you
Yikes.
born like this? Because you like, I'm trying to like, I've got a 9 and 10-year-old son, and they don't like nothing. They don't like-
It's a problem.
And I'm
It's a
like, do
problem.
something. Where you have like, what do you like? You have to dedicate yourself to, and they're just like, I don't want to do nothing. And then, I'm like, well, I think maybe you're either born driven, you grind towards whatever you want. Like, I'm going to accomplish this no matter what it takes. So have you been like this your whole life?
Now, I would say, this has always been a debate between like psychologists, psychiatrists, etc. Of like how much of your life is nurture versus nature.
Yes,
I think
I'm
it's
obsessed
pretty
with that.
mixed.
Yeah, he won't shut up about it.
So some of it is this is how you came out of the womb going to be, right? And some of it's like, oh, if you have that culture of people who constantly want to push you. Like, I definitely had friends that they were into martial arts, and then I wanted to hang out with my friends, so I got into martial arts, and they said, hey, keep doing this, this, and this. So being around a group of people that constantly pushed me into either science, technology, engineering, mathematics, circus arts, engineering, horses, etc.
Horses?
That's what it,
You
yeah.
didn't even touch on horses. You got horses?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
But how do you have enough time to do?
Yeah, you're an abnormal human, Jennifer. You got to realize. I'm sure as you talk to someone boring like me or anybody else, you're just like, I am way more interesting and driven than anybody I've ever
Horses
met.
require a lot of time. They're amazing. My dad had a horse. Like, so how do you have to budget your calendar out and say like a little time here, a little time here, a little time for your wife, a little like how do you do it?
Yeah, absolutely. I live by like Outlook calendar and Google Calendar.
Yeah.
Those are like every minute is allocated to something.
And do you try to squeeze like what are your typical days like? Are you like 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. like just burning it, or?
I would say so. I'm usually up around 6 a.m. Then breakfast, feed the cats, wash the dishes, etc. And then 7 a.m. is usually when I log in and start working. And then I'm usually working for engineering job. And then I'm also like texting saying, hey, this is what I can do, organizing all the things. Then get off somewhere around 4 or 5, and that's when I transition into okay, today I'm going to go down to Melbourne and do CrossFit and aerials down there. If it's a Tuesday, it's going to be like ultimate frisbee. If
So
it's
you
a
do
Wednesday, it's
aerial
juggling.
stuff
Yeah.
too, and she flies on the scarves.
Oh,
My God!
Yeah, listen.
Have you ever tried to combine all of them? Horse plus scars plus whip.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of the records happen.
Yeah.
So, like the horse boarding with whips and arrow catching, blindfolded, and then we did a bunch of routines. I just started a new routine for burlesque that was magic, quick change, hat tricks, whip cracking.
Wait, the quick
rope
change
dart.
outfits?
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with those, Jeff. Those are the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. Sometimes I maybe fall in a fish whistle, and I watch those, and I'm like, this is real magic. This is real magic.
Well, listen, all I know, if you can whip Jenga pieces off of a
Yep.
Jenga tower, you
Yep.
could do anything you want.
So, I mean,
You
'cause
never-
we're about to run out of
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
so
Well-
let's plug it real good so everybody knows how they can
Okay.
go see you perform and speak and talk about all of these great things you do.
Listen, Orlando Science Center this Saturday, Science Night Live. Get your tickets because there is a limited amount of tickets
Yeah.
for every Science Night Live.
Well, you want it to be comfortable.
It's adults only. There's some beverages that you could have there,
Yep.
and it's a great date night. You can hear Jennifer and speak there, which just meeting Jennifer is,
Yeah.
I mean,
We
one
hope
of the
you'll come back
greatest
again.
guests.
There
we've
you
Oh,
go.
got.
heck yeah, you're more than welcome to invite me.
And you're local, right?
Yep.
Oh,
man.
awesome, yeah.
Well, I went through all your PDF files, and Tom and I were talking about for our events, and with these guys liking you, we might try to book you for an event.
Heck yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
we like to
yeah,
bring-
100%.
Yeah, because our guys like an outstanding performance. We have learned that our
Yeah.
guys like it when humans come and say, "Hey, look at this cool stuff I can do." So that would be amazing.
All right, so the last thing we'll
You
do
wanna do
is
it?
our radio stunt
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you're going to whip a flower out of my mouth in the lobby.
Deal.
Okay, yeah. I
So-
got a camera out there.
So just explain how this is going to work. I put the flower stem in my mouth, and then
Yeah, you put it in your mouth.
And how long? How far are you away when you whip this? If you did accidentally whip my cheek,
That would be awesome. Girls like that though. You look like a cowboy, like Red Dead Redemption.
Will it break the skin?
If I do, it's not going to be accidental.
Are you going to seriously hurt my face? It would be a stinger, right?
I think it cuts you wide open, and it's one of those cuts that doesn't bleed. It's where you just see the
Oh,
fat.
yeah,
You just
yeah,
see the
yeah,
fat, and
yeah.
you're like, wood, and we're like, nothing, dude. It's fine.
All right, let's go. We're
All
going
right,
to do this. here.
I'll stay
Okay,
here,
and then I'm going to
just
give
scream.
I'm going to give Jeff.
Yep.
Jeff, can
Yep.
you film this?
Oh, yeah, right on.
So
Jeff's going to get out there to do some filming. I'm going to put it out in the lobby. I'll describe. Tom's going out to the lobby.
should I stand on this? Should I stand over here, Dan?
Okay, let's see what.
Okay, I got the lobby cam on. Okay, yeah, you should stand there, Tom.
Okay. Could you whip this way?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, we can, you can see this all at YouTube or twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live, or just go to YouTube and search Tom and Dan Live. But she's got her flower. It always makes me, when we have guests like this come in, it always makes me think, I gotta step up the way I dress. I gotta dress like I give a damn. All right, Tom's got a... Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this. She put her hat on him, and now she is putting what appears to be a red carnation into his mouth, and then she's going to step back and whip it out of his mouth. Jeff is doing some videoing. I'm a little concerned for Jeff. He's right in the line of fire.
Let me get a little bit further back.
She's gonna...
Make sure I have enough space.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, she's about to whip some... She's about to whip it. Okay, here we go.
Interference. I'm going to play this slightly safer, a little lower, a little further out.
This is amazing.
Okay, you ready?
Here he goes.
3, 2, 1.
Oh! Wow, dude. That was crazy.
That is
You could feel it, couldn't you? You could feel it.
Oh, I feel the whip of the air.
It's a sonic boom.
Right, yeah, in front of my face.
Wow, that was
Jennifer,
awesome.
I mean, you have an amazing talent.
Yeah, you are
and,
so good.
Thank you.
You know, it's, again, Science Night Live this Saturday, Orlando Science
Limited
Center.
tickets. Get them.
Get your tickets. And also, Jennifer, do you have any website you want to plug or anything like that?
Yeah, you can visit. So, like, all my social media, my website is April Jen Choi. So, at April Jen Choi, apriljenchoi.com. It's pretty easy to find me. If you don't remember my name, Flaming Lesbian Brides.
Yeah.
First thing that'll pop up.
It will. Yeah,
perfect.
I tried it. That actually works really, really well.
Awesome.
Thanks so much. You're awesome. We
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you so much,
being
Dan.
here.
Thank you so much, Tom.
And
Take a little break.
Yep, we'll be right back. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
Crystal Van from the Bart, the realtor. The Bart Merrick.
Oh my God! You want to start over? You want to start over?
No,
it's great because
You know what you say? You know what you say? You know what you say? You say, "I'm so sorry." Every time I look into your eyes, I get frazzled by your beauty.
No, because
Right? That's all you got to say. You're
Got
just
it.
like, my wife's here. I got horny. I'm so sorry. She's so sexy.
Got
I
Boom.
started-
distracted by the-
Fixed it.
I started with one half of the Bart Merrick team.
That's
Yeah,
where you should have kept going.
But then I was like, Bart the realtor.
Yeah.
I screwed it up.
Yeah, you did. You did. We got.
You guys know.
We also got a voicemail this morning from a gentleman who said he went to the Science Center's new life exhibit to see the gopher tortoises. And I
you say
said,
that?
what? And he said, and I wrote it back. I'm like, what? And he said, Tom said tortoises. And I'm like, God
They
damn.
hear everything.
Leave the man alone.
No, it's fine.
Leave him alone.
I deserve it all. And this is, so Crystal is
King Tortoise.
is in studio to
Not
talk
Crystal.
about
I was calling you that.
Hey, babe.
our
Hey, babe.
our trip we just took, and I feel horrible about what happened, even though Crystal. Oh, what happened? Oh, I got a booger.
No, it's not a booger. It wasn't a booger. I was trying to do it discreetly.
You had me yell. You had me yell. Leave this
It was
man
just
alone.
a splash
and he
of your
had a-
drink. It was a splash of your drink.
You can
but
say I have a booger. Just
it's not a booger. It was a splash of drink.
This is a
But
boogout.
Do you remember the story I told 2 weeks ago on the show?
No.
Thousands of people I told
Oh,
about
yeah,
the
the
doo-doo
poop.
pants.
Yeah.
well, you're on the camera. I didn't want
You know, we didn't get a
it's
lot of
little
negative
shiny.
email about that. A lot of people were like, yes, I'm glad he crapped.
I know, they want to see it.
That is what they wanted.
No, I got multiple emails that are like, you're just like me.
I'm a baby. I poop in my pants.
No, I got an email from a guy that's like, I'm a 300-pound trucker that only eats McDonald's, and I do to my pants too. I'm just like you. That's what I get. Anyway, so
Crystal Van is here.
and
Hi.
by the way,
One half of the Bart Merrick team.
Thank you. There it is.
Because of my personality, I deserve all this. Like
No.
everything. Yeah.
Well, but you don't.
Yeah,
like-
Crystal will tell you. Everybody
I
that
don't tell
listens,
you
they're
anymore.
like, I like
I don't
it
tell
when
you anymore.
bad things
Do
happen.
you notice that? I don't tell you anymore.
He knows.
Do you know that, like, because I've you gave me this idea, you were like, Daniel, you just need to give up. Remember when he told me that?
Yeah, just let it go.
Just let it go. And I've been letting it go. And now the listeners give me crap. They're like, fight with him. And I'm like, I'm not going in circles, dog. I ain't going in circles.
They want to see it.
They're like, fight with him. I'm like, I'm not going to fight with him.
He wears you down.
Yeah, he does.
So, to rewind a little bit and just give you the backstory about how this happened is, and like every vacation that I go on, I want to build these adventures with my
God.
sons.
The chat room wants to know if Tertus's wife is wiping. Tertus's wife is wiping his boogers on the carpet.
God, I hate the chat room.
They're there for you every day.
They love you.
No.
They're the P1s.
They're there to see me fail.
But they do love you the most. They do.
I don't know. Anyway, so I want to build these adventures with my sons. I don't know why it's a mental illness now because
maybe
they don't even want it.
I don't think I would say it's a mental illness, but I think I would say, as your friend, even though I know you don't respect a word I say,
that's true.
that I know that it's gone a little far. Like there are balances, right? Like you don't, you guys are not the Pastrana family. You're not,
I see the Pastrana family on my social media.
I know you do.
And they're doing the Arizona swing, and they got wakeboarding.
You know what I did? I did Fat Dad tube down a river. Works every time.
Pastrana's daughter's skydiving now. He's skydiving.
Yeah.
She's skydiving.
She's 3 years old. She's 3 years old.
She's like 9 or 10 or whatever.
At 2,
she's jumping a goddamn side by side.
At 2, she went cave diving with Tiger Woods.
Anyway, so I want to build these adventures, and so we're going to Colorado.
They're quests.
So we start researching, like, what can we do, and we got the standard hikes and stuff, but I'm like, we need something big. Because, like, we could do...
We need a showstopper.
We need...
we need a ending
Pastrana.
number. We need an ending number.
With an ending number, all right.
Some pyro. What do we need? Can I come out of the roof?
Well, I'm like, we need a giant Arizona swing into a lake, or something.
A blob? How about a blob?
Yeah, a blob, something grandiose.
You guys think that he can't sit still in normal life? You should see him on a vacation.
He sits still here. Here, he'll just sit and stare at the computer and yell at it. And he's
but his mind.
There's nothing to do here.
He's slapping the screen. He's like, I need more numbers.
His mind is. Oof.
Anyway, so
it's rotten.
So anyway, we're looking, and then we're googling what we can do.
What would Joe Rogan do?
And then we see this mountain biking. It's summertime in Colorado.
Do you want to rip? Do you and your family want to blast?
So there's all these ski mountains that they turn into mountain bike mountains, and they literally take the mountain bikes up the ski lifts, and then you ride them down.
Dope. I didn't know that. Andrea had to explain all of this to me, and I'm like, that sounds awesome, but it does sound fast.
Okay.
And I ride bikes, and you ride bikes. It's
riding a bike.
I used to mountain bike. I haven't mountain biked in 20 years at Flagler College.
I have never mountain biked.
At Flagler College, I used to go out every weekend and mountain bike around because there are trails in Florida.
Well,
they're not good, but
that's just dirt trails.
That is mountain biking, though.
No, but you would go down in a gully and you would jump over a thing.
Apparently,
and it's hard.
Mountain biking is not all downhill. Like that is another kind of mountain biking. Downhill mountain biking is a type of mountain biking.
This is an 11,000 foot mountain that actually.
Well, that's the total elevation. It's not like we went from 0 to 11,000.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like the base village is like 7,000.
But it's not Florida mountain biking, which we've never done either.
Right.
Correct.
True. That's fair.
I've barely good on road bikes.
I've done it with Alex a couple times in Florida. We just essentially just riding a dirt trail. Anyway, so we see this, and there's a mountain bike activity, an excursion in Snowmass Mountain.
Excursion, or do you want to go extra?
It's not an excursion.
Fast?
Well,
I suggested that we take a class, and he was like, "No, we're going to waste our time and our money on a class just biking."
Our sons hate classes. They tell us. They're similar. They got a little bit of
class
my
is
DNA.
Lower than them.
They got a little bit of a. Don't tell me, I already know.
Which we both.
You know what we call that? You know what we call that in the
I
dentist
do have that too.
You know what I call that in dentist? It's called toe biting. Because there was a kid at the pool one time. There's this bug in the pool, and I scooped it out of the pool and I put it on the side. And this little kid walks over and he looks at it. And he goes, "Oh yeah, that's a Mississippi toe biter. That thing will get you good." It was like a little kid saying this. And I'm like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, get the hell out of here, kid. So when you talk out of your ass, you're a toe biter.
So we see this mountain biking
that was really expensive.
Yeah,
and
he told me that part.
That
He
I
told me that
thought
part.
maybe was too advanced for us.
Yes.
And then he thought, well, maybe you're right. Maybe we should.
Well,
And then
you've got three classes. We got little rollers, we got having fun, and then we got blast.
Well, no, well, the
Yeah.
video. Okay, so just like regular skiing, there's different trails with different colors associated with how hard they are. There's a green trail, which
Yeah.
is for beginners.
Yeah.
There's a blue trail, which is more advanced.
Little more.
And then there's a black trail.
Yeah. You know what that means. Long trail. Long.
Yeah.
That's
Hard.
Fast.
Yeah. It'll get you. And you'll never go back. Anyway, so they.
I agree with that.
So there's a green trail, and we watched the video, and the video in the promotional video.
So you would like to learn to mountain bike?
Is a dad with his two sons going
Oh,
down
they got you. That's how they got you.
And,
the dad looks into the camera and he's like, I've never done anything more rewarding than riding down this mountain with my sons.
And so me,
I feel like a man.
we even brought the boys in and put the TV or put the video on the big TV.
Oh, you sold it. You really sold it. Like,
No,
guys,
no.
we're going to Disney World.
It's funny because they don't care. They're like, whatever. You know, they're not excited. But it's me and my dream because I want
How
to
pumped did you get?
ride a mountain bike down.
And what do you get? Like high fives? Like,
mountain.
what do you hear in your brain?
Well, I envision like me and my sons. They're in the full gear because they give you a helmet, full
Yeah.
face helmet.
I laughed at you
a
guys in the
shoulder.
full face.
Yeah.
You guys got these
I didn't
big-
want to wear.
You look like Master Chief from Halo. You got these big old
Thank
helmets.
God I had all that.
Yeah, no ass, dude. Seriously.
well, that's
the first thing I said to Andrea is I was like, that first picture saved her life.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that you were like,
Well, that's another part of it where I'm like, this is Snowmass Mountain.
You're bouncing around too much.
Okay, well, I want to just explain.
he doesn't
how
want to take accountability for anything.
the math.
Like he's like Lauren Hill over here. Nothing's ever his fault, you know.
Damn
Sorry,
bitch.
it was the media.
I was
It wasn't
supposed to
Lauren
go
Hill canceling
tomorrow.
the tour.
Broken leg.
The math I did was this is the most expensive mountain in Colorado, and it's like Disney World.
I
and-
agree.
And I'm like,
Is it the one I skied?
Yeah. So super
It's
expensive
where
one.
the kids learned with Laura the Lion.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Yeah, so I agree with him on that. Like, Snowmass doesn't do things wrong.
No.
Like, if this is a green trail, it's set up for people to come.
And my free lunch at Snowmass was balls out awesome.
Free lunch?
Well, with my lesson, they gave you a
okay.
per diem, and we got
Say, nothing
food.
free
It
is
was
over there.
awesome.
And this is what I know about lawsuits. It's the Walmart that gets sued. So it's the people that have the most money. So if you have the most money, most likely in my math that you are not going to have something too hard because you wouldn't let a bunch of people get hurt all the time because they're going to be suing
That
you
makes
crazy. So then I was like,
does.
if we went and
like,
just
why would people be doing this if once a tour somebody got hurt?
yeah, if we found some guy in Facebook Marketplace is like, hey, you want to come just use my bikes and go down this hill? I'll be like, well, that
But you've
guy
done
doesn't
that
care.
before, haven't you?
Well,
Like with side by sides or cabins, you'd find some guy.
well, that guy doesn't care about getting sued. He doesn't have anything.
Right.
So and that's where you're going to get hurt. The fancy place anyway. So we saw, and then we booked it. And Crystal was apprehensive about it. Went back and forth. She's like, it's expensive,
Yeah.
but I'm like, but we're paying for the adventure.
I wasn't thinking anyone was going to get hurt. I was thinking it's going to be miserable because our kids do not like to work hard. Okay, I'm sad to say that, but they don't.
Don't tell people.
Well, they already know.
because
They already
It's
know.
their number one trait. What would you say is your number one trait? Well, I'm the best at not working
Well,
hard.
you know what doesn't help? Well, your business partner's daughter is the hardest working person you know.
It's a bad comparison. It is a bad comparison.
That should help.
You're
That
harder
should be
working than I am.
That should be motivating.
It's literally
it's a bad comparison.
The hardest work. When I'm running, I'm like, just work as hard as Maisie. I use Maisie as motivation. A 9-year-old.
Yeah, but I never spent any time with her. Like this morning,
Where's she working all the
This
time?
morning, she got up and one of her dance friends called her and she's like, "We're gonna go do makeup or some makeup challenge." I'm like, "Bye." I'm like, she's like, doesn't even care about me.
So anyway, we booked this trip. Crystal's like, I don't know. I'm like, no, let's just do it. I think
In the past, we have booked similarly priced things before that have been either miserable or not worth it because they were too young or they weren't ready for it.
Right.
And my thought was like, we're not really ready for this. The kids have never been on a big bike before. Like, they ride on the street, but that's, the extent of their biking ability.
Yeah.
And it's not even really that often. So are we going to go put them on a mountain and expect them to be able to go down and enjoy it? That's where my head was at. But then I thought, well, screw it. Let's just do it
so,
and make them do it. And if they
Yeah.
hate it, they would go down one time and then everybody hates it and we leave.
Sea level road bike.
Yeah.
And you booked.
I'm
your
not even
boys.
joking. Well, in retrospect, I did start thinking about this when we were in the hospital. I had a lot of time to think.
yeah.
I was like, you
A
know
lot
what?
of dads say that.
I'm like, why did I think my sons could do this? If I told them ride through the neighbor's grass, I don't know if they could do that.
It's hard. Have you ever ridden through the neighborhood?
Yeah.
It's hard riding through grass.
Like if I asked them to run with the bear. Yeah. So it's like, why did I just think
Ask
we could
Maisie
go
about the
down a
time I dumped my
goddamn mountain?
Ask Maisie about the time we were riding bikes, and to avoid a squirrel, I wrecked my bike. I wrecked it and then because some old lady thought that she caused it, I lay there and pretended I was dead because I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed I didn't want to stand up.
So
Because when you get to a certain age, when you fall, it hurts, dude.
we get there and we go through the registration. They pull.
Did you have to watch a video like skydiving?
No video. No, but, that's what was remarkable. Now that I think
Remarkable.
about it, no
Yes.
one, not one video, not one person saying like. It was obvious when the vans were standing there that we had no idea what we were doing and never done this before.
Yeah. Oh, also the bike.
I have a Florida hat. I'm obviously high.
like banana.
Watch this little tiny clip of Max first getting on his bike. That
Yeah.
first of all has gears. Max has never had a bike with gears before.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
has
that's-
enormous suspension that puts like him up so tall.
Holy crap.
Yeah. The bike is way bigger than I thought. Way bigger than his normal bike.
I mean, he's on his tippy toes.
So
And they're like, it's fine. He's going to do all right on that thing.
I mean,
and then I'm like, can you tell him some instructions or something? I mean, we don't know what we're doing here. And they're
Yeah.
like, just go up there, do the kids run twice, and then you'll be good for the green. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
he
Oh,
seems
Colorado
confident.
people are tough about their rocks. They don't care.
which was odd because you think for a super expensive mountain, like there would be someone being like, "Oh, these people should not go." They were like, "Hey, you sure?"
Are you guys at the top or are you getting your gear at the bottom?
No, getting the gear at the bottom. So,
So paint the picture for you. Walk in, the
Okay.
vans walk in. Are you picking helmets like people
no,
do?
they hand us like
There
this-
was a guy with big fluffy hair
Oh, I
who
love
looked
that.
like
Like a
he
broccoli.
just
Yeah,
rolled
yeah.
out of bed.
Yeah,
He did
yeah.
not give a about us. He gave me knee pads that apparently were too big and slid
It's
off
fine.
me.
It's fine. I get it.
I was riding.
Then you're not cursed.
No,
We
no,
have
it's fine.
Oh,
this is
What did I even say?
Actually, it's not even going to be aired.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll get it later, but it's
all
like,
right.
yeah.
All right,
I don't want to be the one who gets anybody in trouble.
You're
so,
not. No.
So in
Nobody's listening. You can't get in trouble.
the
I'm serious.
we get all the
Jack's
gear
not
on.
listening. They preempted us for sports.
Yeah, we get all the gear on. They give us the bikes, and then so when they give,
How are you feeling? Confident? Scared?
No, when the bikes rolled out, I was like, no.
Okay, these are the questions I'm
So-
going to ask,
so-
and I don't want to interrupt you, but I do
Yeah.
like the initial reactions because you're pretty.
Yeah.
You're not gonna.
Yeah. I mean, when they handed it to Tommy, he was struggling just to hold it up.
They're humongous bikes,
Yeah, yeah.
dude.
Huge.
Yeah.
And our
And he
kids
couldn't
like
even get on.
I don't really know like the sizes of bikes, but I do know
My mountain
kids,
bike was too big for me. I'm little, and it was humongous.
My kids are on a 20-inch bike. They need to be upgraded. Their parents just haven't bought them new ones yet. But so these were 24-inch bikes, so that's already bigger. And
That's
the
what I ride.
tires are huge, so that added a couple extra inches. And then like there's all this big suspension, and the seats move up
It's
and down
intimidating,
automatic.
yeah.
It was.
It's a lot.
So when TC and I saw the boys trying to just ride around the little parking lot or the little storage area, they were like falling off the bikes on flat ground, and we looked at each other and we're like, sorry.
You're good.
I'm
No,
so
I'm going to write them
sorry.
down. It's totally fine.
I'm on a lot of Advil.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, so then, but I knew at this
what
point
I'm here for.
The likelihood of them giving us our money back.
yeah. They're already on the bikes.
And also, what my buddy Alex is there, who's a
He's a
mountain
mountain
biker,
biker, yeah.
and he's got.
Did that intimidate you at all? Like you
It
were
actually made us feel better.
okay.
Because he was helping the kids. Like, he was telling them some tips.
Well, I also don't want to.
Did they
tell him that my family can't do this? He's like Air Force
Yeah,
guy.
but he knew.
No, he didn't.
He
well,
was
no,
looking
no.
at
No.
He was
No,
there.
no, he
dude.
didn't. No, I didn't want him to. I didn't want to give up in front of him
Right,
and show him
right.
that I'm a weak.
And when he would would he be like, hey, when you're doing this, do this? Would you come over and be like, oh, I wouldn't do it that way?
No. He was trying to give my sons pointers, but I could tell in his eyes. He's like, "Why are you doing this? Why did you think you could do this?"
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's fine.
It's like when Jelly Roll told me he could dunk a basketball.
You know, I'm like,
I don't know, buddy.
I know they can't do this on the flat concrete in the $1 million Snowmass Village.
It's a
but,
brand new bike. Who would be able to ride a brand new bike with like limited bike experience?
But I bet they could.
Like, in a full face dirt bike
Right.
helmet,
Yeah. It's not easy.
you're in a zippered long sleeve shirt that's covered in pads all over chest plate and everything.
My God.
The legs are
they
all
had
covered.
chest protectors on?
Yeah.
Oh, chest
They're
protectors.
just like stormtroopers.
Yeah, no, I
Knee
told
pads,
when we got dressed, I'm like, we look
ankle.
like RoboCop.
Yeah.
Those are not made for boobs, by the way.
No. You're supposed to cut the boob holes out. I've seen the videos.
Which is probably a tell that they've had a lot of issues. But also, I was like, they can't ride here on flat ground. You know what will help? Going up 5,000 feet into the rocks. I bet they can do it
Maybe
up there.
it's too smooth.
Well, you know what?
It's too smooth and flat. We need to get up to the rocks.
Need
the
something to
steep
bounce
rocks.
off
Well, I thought,
You need a little something to get you going. You know?
yeah. The gravity will keep them moving.
Yeah. These rocks will bounce you down there good.
I'm like, maybe the fear will help them ride better.
I'm sorry, I can't breathe.
So anyway, we get up on the ski lift and they get in the gondola, and it takes us up, right, to the mid part of the mountain. So
Where are your bikes?
they put the bikes in a separate gondola, like to put up there. So
That's cool, man.
We get up there, we get our bikes, and then there is.
Are you at all excited about this?
No. I see.
No, he
I
had already decided, like, ooh,
Are
this
you
is not a good idea.
Where are you at headspace?
I was trying to say to him, calm down. We are already here.
Yeah.
We already paid. We're going to do the little baby run a couple of
Yeah.
times, and if everybody hates it, we'll just call
like
it a day.
that.
But we're going to at least try it. He wanted to give up. He wanted to call it before we
Really?
even started.
Well-
and I was saying, be positive. 'cause he
Belichick
gets,
wouldn't do
You know
that.
what he does? He gets negative in his head, and then it starts giving it bad energy to everybody else.
Hey, we were doing a little of that
So-
this morning.
He's like, no,
Quit
it's not
picking
gonna
up
work.
my energy. I'm just staring at a screen.
It's not gonna work. Can't do it.
I'm like, how am I supposed to control the energy, the
can't.
fake
You
energy
can't.
that I'm putting out?
You got to put out the fake. You just gotta
Yeah, you
freaking learn how
gotta
to
put
fake
an
a little
energy
bit.
blocker.
Yeah.
You gotta take an energy
I'm
blocker.
not showing you. I'm just staring at you. And then
So he's
you guys
giving
are
the
picking up.
energy, and you
Okay,
know
well,
what it
he's-
means.
Yeah, he's like frustrated, and you can
Yeah,
just.
I
And
can
the
feel
kids
it.
pick up on it,
Yeah.
so I'm like, it's
Which
all
one
right,
picks
guys.
up on it the most, Max?
No, probably Tommy.
Yeah, because they're more alike.
And so I'm like, we're just gonna try it. It's gonna be great. And I asked them both, give me 3 times, give me like 3 runs on
Oh,
this
that's
little
good, yeah.
baby section, right? And they agreed to give me 3. And then if they hated it, we didn't have to do it anymore.
There you go.
So
So we go up to like the kids section, the easiest,
like the learning section.
the learning,
Yeah.
which we get up there, we're falling all over, and we're right in the grass, and then I'm like, all right.
What kind of things are you doing in the describe the
Well,
baby.
literally walking from the lift to the beginning of the trail,
Like-
falling over, like can't hold the bike up.
Oh,
you know,
right,
the kids,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and then so I'm,
Were you carrying all the bikes?
no, they were trying. I
Because
mean,
you wanted to, didn't you?
they were, and Max was trying because
Yeah.
Max wants to impress me
People
more.
pleaser, yeah.
I think than Tommy. Tommy's
He's giving up like me. And, like me and
But you know
Crystal.
what's funny? Tommy was so good at it.
yeah,
Tommy
yeah.
was so good. He didn't fall. He didn't put his foot down once.
Well, I
he
mean,
went
got
down.
the body geometry for it. I mean, like, dude could do it.
He was good, but he hated it. And then at the bottom, he had like, he doesn't cry. Tommy doesn't cry,
Yeah.
but he like gets frustrated, red eyes,
Yeah.
and he's like, I don't want to do it the other 2 times. And I'm like, you promised, let's go back up and try again. Because I thought like
Yeah.
after he built confidence that he would start to enjoy it.
Huh.
That didn't happen with
I
him.
wonder why he didn't like it, especially if he was like
I
decent.
think he felt a little bit out of his control.
Yeah.
He likes
Well-
to be in control.
Oh yeah, that's the rush that you like. You enjoyed that feeling.
Well, he also realizes this is above my skill level and dangerous to probably do,
right,
and I'm
that
not
kicks in the caution.
Smart boy.
Sure.
I'm not comfortable. Like I don't know
Yeah.
the gears.
I would be like that.
Like the gears thing too. They've never rode a bike with gears, so they have no experience changing gears.
It's intimidating because you can mess it up.
So well,
But to be honest, you don't even have to pedal. All you have to do is ride the brakes the whole way.
Well,
you do not have to pedal.
sometimes there's a little uphills that you do need to pedal. Which
I never found those. I don't think I went on that.
What side of the mountain were you on? We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
You were in a completely different area.
I watched-
rocketing down the mountain. Your boys are paddling. They're just doing the normal thing, and you're just flying.
So we're at the midpoint of the mountain, and then Tommy's like, I'm done with this. So I'm not going to push him. Because basically from the midpoint, we have to go down
You
to
told me he did it, but
the
he just
end.
told you. He's like, I'm out.
And then Max is like, I think I can make it from here and do the long run. It's about a half an hour of downhill, or like maybe 25 minutes, 20.
That's a long...
It's long.
It-
That's a long run.
And from the
Never ending.
midpoint of the mountain down to the base, right, or whatever. So then, so Max is like, I think I can do it, and my buddy Alex is like, all right, let's go. So then I tell Crystal, all right.
How did he say it? Did he say, let's go? Like, did he say it like that? Because when people start saying that now, I'm anti that now. I'm anti, let's go. And I'm also anti when people say, that's cringe. I'm anti both of those.
And
let's go is now cringe.
And then Crystal's like, I'll stay up here with Tommy. Maybe Tommy, after we eat lunch or whatever, he'll be willing to go down, and me and Tommy can go down, whatever. So
I'm going to guess delicious food isn't going to make him want to.
I just gave him an ice cream.
Yeah. Oh, I love a good ice cream.
So me and Max and Alex start going down the mountain, right? And I have to admit, it was more advanced than I thought it would be.
Yeah, you told me that.
And I kept telling Max, because the whole time I was terrified. Max,
Stay on the edge. Stay on the edge. It's
Oh
that
my God.
advanced. Yeah.
So these like, it goes from one side to the other side, right? Like left to right, with just a little bit of grade to keep you moving. But then when you have to turn to go back the other way, the switchback is really tight. And on the other side, like down mountain, it's like a little cliff. So if you take your turn a little too wide, you're going to fall into the trees down. Yeah.
So it's intimidating.
Super
That's
intimidating.
a little intimidating. Yeah,
Super
that would scare me.
You've never ridden a bike with gears. It's too big.
You're heading downhill.
Like you're downhill.
And your dad's about to Mac-and-me you in the... Remember? Your dad's about to wheelchair Mac-and-me you off a cliff.
That is an old
and
reference.
you and your alien friend are going to be hurt, man.
Yeah, so Max is nervous, and so I keep telling him, like, ride the brakes, but you can't grab. If you grab a hold of the front brake,
Dude, he's got tiny hands.
It's gonna launch you over, because the brakes are super sensitive. By the way,
Does he
they'll
know which
lock
is
up.
left and right?
Yeah,
We did teach him, yeah.
But I'm like, you cannot grab the front brake. You will launch over the handlebars off the cliff. so that's making
Mac-and-me. Don't do it.
So he's going down,
Max and me.
and after about 20 minutes, which is a long time just riding a bike,
His brakes are red hot on fire. Look like a NASCAR.
he's just getting tired, right? His the arms are
Also,
tired, his legs are tired.
I'll be real with you.
His taint is getting rammed by every rock.
That's kind of the hardest thing, like for kids. It was the hardest thing for Macy to learn on her bike are handbrakes. Handbrakes are hard for kids. They got little hands.
Yeah.
It's hard
They
for,
are
hard
yeah.
for me. I got
'Cause
little
they're-
hands.
Like their thumb is on the back of the handlebar,
Yeah.
and then their
You have to roll
fingers
your-
barely reach. The
you have to
brake.
roll your wrist forward.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, and like the part of it is we're not skilled enough to stand the whole time, which you need to do mountain bike. I was watching Alex.
I stood the whole time.
Well, I could stand a
Stood
little
the whole
bit.
time.
Anyway, the seat just rams your anus.
It bumps you.
Because you need to stand to use your knees to get, but Max is just getting rammed the entire time. And he told me, he's like, my taint. He's like, it hurts.
Did you
He
tell
called it his crotch.
Did
Yeah,
you tell
my
him
crotch.
Did you say some people like this?
Oh,
So he's like, my crotch hurts, and he's wobbling, like he's tired as hell.
But he wants to please you.
So he can't.
and you're like, keep going.
no, but I'm like, we have to get down, whatever.
what can you
Get
do?
down.
You're gonna walk.
Yeah, we can't walk. So anyway, after falling,
People do walk. I saw people when we were skiing at Sunlight.
Yeah, but this
I
is
saw
not-
we don't give
I
up.
saw a fat
We
kid
can't.
walk all the way down the mountain.
Yeah, but this is not like that. You're in the trees on a trail that's narrow, and if you get off your bike, somebody behind you is going to ram you. Like you
He's
cannot,
already being rammed.
you cannot get off. Like you have to
Yeah.
just keep going.
So after I like the third or fourth time picking him up after he fell,
Oh, man.
I could
My
hear him sobbing.
Well, the helmet was muffling it.
yeah. Which and it was just probably frustration where he's just like, so I get him on his bike. He's like,
Well, you did give him an impossible task.
yeah,
so
but he did it.
I'm sweating.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
should
it's
be very
miserable
proud
for
of
me.
himself.
he didn't complain. He did cry inside his helmet to himself, but he didn't complain.
That's what Tom does at his computer. He
And-
doesn't complain either. Just sits there, cries at his computer.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
kind of like
Yeah.
impressed that he
No,
He like knew, okay, I don't have any choice. I have to
Right.
do this, and I'm not happy about it, but I have to keep doing it. And
Yeah.
he didn't sit there and throw his bike down and say, I don't want to
That's
stop.
awesome.
No, yeah, he just did it.
but he was not happy about it.
Yeah, so we get down to the end, and then so we're down there, and then obviously he's like, I'm never doing that, and I'm like, touche, all right. So I call Crystal, and
we
I'm
did
like,
one of my things. Let's do one of your things.
so Crystal's like, all right, well, we paid $700 for this.
So Mama's gonna blast.
So Crystal's like, at least, like, I'm sending Tommy down in the gondola with the lunch and his bike, and then I'm gonna go down. So at least I can experience it. And then I'm
plus
like, all
one
right.
for Tommy for getting a quiet lunch in the gondola on the way down. He's the smartest guy.
I'd like to see him in there with his glasses.
Yeah, just eating his
looking
little
out the
lunch.
window.
Yeah. He's like, this is great. This is nice.
Now this is already an L for me. I'm mad. I'm like, we spent. I'm like, I knew
You
I.
don't really get mad though. You get more like,
I'm
it's that energy
it's
thing. You get it's
self-deprecating,
a grump
like-
energy.
Well, because I'm mad at myself
Yeah.
because like this is my fault. What am I thinking? I should have known that my sons, they never ridden a mountain bike.
You know-
they never, they just ride their bike on the street barely.
Yeah.
like
But this is
not even that
pretty-
much.
I mean, but this is the-
once every 2 weeks.
The chat room is even kind of pointing out, like, is this sort of like the grit builders you were looking for, or?
It doesn't seem to be working.
Oh wow! Should I mark that? Hold on, I gotta mark that.
Yeah, I think you're born with it, and then you're just a born.
Maybe
like,
it's
insane-
Maybelline. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
So I felt like after the 2 runs on the little kids mountain, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun, and
Yeah.
I felt
You like that stuff?
confident
I saw you
enough.
jumping off rocks and doing flips, and you guys are doing, like doing daring
I'm like
things.
I feel like I can do hard things. I can do this. It's I just got to be careful because I don't want to. Honestly, it actually never occurred to me falling off the bike. Never once.
I don't think.
I
Yeah,
never
it's,
thought like I could hurt myself. I was thinking
Right.
it was going to be hard, and it was going to like hurt. I was going to get a blister on my hand,
Right,
or
sure.
I was going to be really sore after.
Yeah, yeah.
It never occurred to me that I would fall off.
Well, so Daniel, can you look on YouTube and pull up Grape Lady?
Oh yeah.
The grape
God.
stomp lady, and then I'll tell you in my perspective. So Tommy comes down in the gondola, he gets off, and so Crystal told me like, "Hey, I'm going to ride down the easy trail like you guys, just to experience it. Might as well." So I'm like, "Okay." So Tommy,
And also, I knew Max had already gotten down, so I'm like, like Max could get down, I could do it too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, it can't be that bad.
I wasn't concerned at all when Crystal said that she was going to do that. I was like, yes, you might as well.
I wouldn't be.
I was more trying to figure out, like, okay, when Crystal gets down, she'll probably take the boys. I'll go back up with Alex.
And ride
then-
down again.
And then, like, at least try to get my $700 worth of,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
riding it. Like,
You better start pedaling, homie.
This was a loss.
It wasn't $700 each.
No.
You said my $700. I just want to be
yeah.
clear.
Yeah.
It was under $700,
Look,
but
you
it was
got-
close. But
you-
because like each bike rental is like $110, the gear rental, then you got to pay the lift ticket.
Yeah, so
and
they get you
They
everywhere.
really, and then it's
Like-
times 4. You don't get a discount for the kids. It really.
So
You definitely should if they don't if they go up and they don't use their time. I mean, like, you can give me $100 back. That'd be nice. Something.
So I buy the boys some more ice cream to bribe
Gotta pump 'em full.
and
Gotta pump 'em full.
And so I'm just standing there waiting at the area where all the bikes finish, and then I'm waiting to see Crystal come around the corner, and then
Sure.
so I'm just standing there. So then a good amount of time has passed, and
Are you
and
on
then
your
it's still
phone?
nothing.
Are you Bovada?
No.
You trying to get a signal?
No, I'm just staring at the mountain, Matt.
Mad Mountain.
Yeah, about why
Time goes extra slow.
I
when you're
thought
doing
I could do this. So then I get a call. It's when the phone's ringing, and then it's Crystal. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe she ended somewhere that I don't know. So I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello, and then I hear from far away, like muffled. What sounded like the grape lady.
Oh man, he told me that.
It
too.
was like that. It was. But
And then I'm like,
I wasn't
hello? And I'm like, babe, hello? I'm like, what's wrong?
That's terrifying.
And then I'm
dude.
like, hello? And then she's not answering or saying, she's not
Well, she
responding
can't,
to
you
me.
idiot. She's dying. You're like, why aren't you talking to me?
And then, and then it cuts off. All right. So
Oh my
now
god!
a little bit of
murderer.
a little bit of
murderer got her.
backstory that I didn't know, but her watch called me when she fell, right? It's because she has on her Apple Watch an emergency.
I have that.
Yeah.
So if you fall, it'll call your emergency contact.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. I'm tumbling down.
That's amazing.
But I wasn't yelling like that lady. What is she saying? Stop, stop. I was yelling, help.
yeah. And she doesn't. I thought she was calling me on the phone. I'm like, hello? I'm like, what's happening?
That poor lady. That poor lady. Okay, you know how when you hit a squirrel, they like immediately start moving really fast? Like they pop up and start moving really fast.
Oh, that's what happened to Sabrina when she got choked out at American Combat Club.
When you get hurt, you pop up. That's how sometimes people hurt themselves worse or break their necks when they pop up because the adrenaline.
Yeah, I had a.
You're supposed to lay there.
I mean, this is super morbid, but I had a friend who got in a car accident. The airbag hit him in the face so hard it like got him an adrenaline
Stunned
surge,
him?
and he ran out of his car and got hit.
Oh, God.
Like, because he was so...
Yeah, amped. You're like, oh, what's happening?
He wasn't injured in the car wreck. He was injured when he tried to cross the road. Yeah, that's a real thing.
So we'll switch to Crystal about how she fell, and then I'll tell you my side of it.
I was going down fine. Like, everything was fine. I wasn't going too fast. I was, riding the brakes a little bit. I made the turns. The guy did tell me, come into the turn slow and then come out of it quick. So I was doing that on every turn, every switchback, and I was like, I felt like I had it. I wasn't good at it, but I could do it. And then I got down like out of the woods to there was like an opening area, and I took a wide turn, like the widest turn that we'd had so far, the widest switchback. And I don't know what happened. I was on the ground. Like it happened so quick. I have this image of the ground coming at my face. So like I went down chest first. And I don't know, I tumbled or whatever.
They don't mess up those beauties.
I thought I broke my ribs because I couldn't take a breath and I couldn't move my right arm. So I popped up and I started taking my backpack off, which I realized I was wearing a backpack.
There's a woman, she's crazy. She's got her out.
Everything in my backpack was crushed. I crushed the sunscreen aluminum can. I crushed my glasses, whatever. Anyway, start trying to rip it off. I'm unzipping the thing and I'm like, help, help. I started like waving my left arm around, like waiting for someone to see me because I thought, what if I like punctured a lung or something and nobody can see me? Although I was under the gondola, so no, I wasn't. But it was in a moment of panic because I've never fallen that hard in my life. Like,
do you think Tommy was like eating a sandwich? He's like, that's funny. That looks like my mom. Like,
I was far enough away that they couldn't see me.
Okay, that's good.
But I was by myself.
That was the first thing I said to Tom. As I was like, it didn't happen in front of the boys, did it?
No, and I'm glad it didn't.
Yeah, because
I'm super glad it
traumatic.
didn't. Yeah, no, I was all by myself, and like there was no. I looked behind me on the trail, nobody. I looked in front of me, I couldn't see anybody, and I just started flailing around so that somebody on the gondola might see me and call for help. I don't know. I didn't know how long I was going to lay there, but
that's terrible.
I started trying to rip off the protective gear. And
that's what they do in the movies. In the Army, when you get shot, you start ripping all your clothing off.
I've heard that before. And then, like, they even say scuba divers, when they start to panic, they start ripping off all their gear.
Yeah, yeah.
And that, like, it's like one of the things we learned, like, don't do that.
I do it when I have to poop real bad. You just start ripping my clothing.
Take your hat off.
I don't know. It's like you feel like constricted and confined, like, and I need to free myself of this situation or whatever. So finally, I saw a guy, like, downhill, and he waved up at me, and then I just fell over and laid there.
Oh, my God.
Until he came.
So,
this is terrible. Where are you?
In my perspective,
eating ice cream.
After you're having an ice cream. That's a good line.
After I hear the grape lady, and she's like, I hear her like, like scream, like hello, and then hang up. I call back, nothing. So then I hang up. I put my phone in my pocket
quietly,
and then
just stare at the mountain.
And then the boys are like, "Is everything okay?" And then I'm like, "Yeah, Mom had like I think a little
too much
issue.
ice cream. You got a tummy ache."
And then the boys are like, "All right." Back to ice cream.
That's the way to keep them. Keep them in dreamland.
So then I have Crystal's tracker. Like I see her on the mountain, right? Yeah. I see her like
you
dot.
Track each other. Weirdos. Psychopaths.
I never look at it. Crystal put it on my phone, and then I see it
for safety.
And so I see her. She's on the side of the mountain. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, she did the grape lady, so I know it's not that bad. When you really like, if you paralyze yourself, you're. I
like that.
You get silent.
Well, she was able to to call, so she's fine. If she wasn't able to call, complete paralysis.
Because he has no idea that it was my watch that called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, when.
So you're actually assuming that it's better than it may actually be because
Yeah.
the watch actually automatically calls.
Yeah, like when you are really, really injured, like you are, you're seriously, you can't talk. You're
That hurts my feelings.
Well, you
I
weren't-
was very injured.
You weren't
No.
knocked out, though, I think you say. You weren't unconscious.
Yeah, unconscious or you're
I'm not
paralyzed. You
belittling.
can't
I'm
I
not
move.
wasn't
belittling it.
unconscious, no,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
couldn't breathe and I was scared. And I was all
Yeah,
alone.
when you get the wind knocked out of you, or if I've broken ribs before, it's the worst. And there's nothing you can do.
But I knew it's not the end. Like I knew she may have hurt herself, even maybe broken something, but not
we're
dead.
gonna finish these ice creams.
Not dead or paralyzed. So it's like, at the, it's not the
To be fair,
absolute worst.
There's nothing he could have done anyway but sit there and wait.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
The guy who walked up to me was a bike instructor for like a class, so he had a whole class down there
Oh no!
waiting for me. So he came over and he helped me get up and walk down to him. Like it was like 50 yards downhill. He walked my bike down, and he helped me like get my bag off or whatever. But I can't explain to you how convinced I was that I broke my ribs. I could not move my arm and I couldn't take a breath. It was like everything
Yeah.
I tried. Every time I moved an inch, it was like that.
Right.
Like I couldn't. It was bizarre. But my ribs are not broken. They're fine. I had no idea my knee was messed up because I walked down. I'm like, well, I'm a little bit bruised and banged up or whatever. I was just honestly so embarrassed, and I didn't cry, but I was just like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm apologizing to all the students. Like, I'm so sorry that you have to help me. Like, send the cart, get me off the mountain on the cart. It took them probably 5 minutes to get the cart to me. It felt like half an hour. But they load me on the cart and they,
Like a football player,
yeah.
like Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. It was like a
You put
ATV
your
or
leg up.
whatever.
Did you wave there? They were driving you away.
Well, I'm more concerned about how much this is all going to cost.
I know you are. Yeah.
I know. I'm concerned about my wife. Really,
Moneybags over here
first.
starts running the numbers.
And this is in retrospect now.
Yeah.
At the time I was worried, but
You're
so
like, how much are those ice creams?
So Crystal's like, finally, when she calls me, and by the way, I first go into the main office. I'm like, I think my wife hurt herself up there, and I see her daughter here, and she hasn't moved. And they're like, they were like, we called the rescue, they're not answering, so that's all we got.
All we can do. I got broccoli here, dude. I can do nothing.
Yeah. So,
I have no skills.
so Crystal's like, meet me at the clinic, and then so we go to the clinic.
Were you in an ambulance?
No, I was on an ATV.
like
And then
like the back of a side by side?
So they took you in a side-by-side to the hospital.
No.
Well, to the
They were going to take me to the clinic, but then I was talking to the guy because I was also worried about how much this was going to cost. And I'm
Right,
like,
right.
are they just going to send me to the hospital? And he's like, yes. I'm looking at you right now. Like, they're going to send you to the hospital after they do a bunch of x-rays, and you're going to pay twice.
Ooh,
basically. You're
have him
gonna
drive
pay
up
here.
the side-by-side like gang members do and just dump your body out. And then the side-by-side goes peeling out, and then just don't tell them who you are,
yeah,
but they
just say
have
you're
to
a bum.
treat you.
Just say you're a bum. I'm not a bum.
Yeah. Quick, put some dirt on your face. Okay, we're going to dump your body out. It was a gang initiation that went wrong.
He took me all the way to my car after we decided together that we were not
making
going to
out.
pay twice. So we went to the car, and I didn't cry. I didn't cry until he had to help me out of the vehicle, and I felt so pitiful. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want. I started crying.
Oh, my God.
So
Poor kid,
the
so
guy
much.
has to fill out a report. He asks my name. I say it's Donald Duck, and then we leave. Right? So then Chris like, you got to take me to the
I'm
hospital.
so sorry that you had a bad. I'm sorry, so sorry you had a bad day, Mr. Duck. I hope the rest of your visit to Colorado.
I
is
wish
great.
somebody on the gondola had filmed me and then posted it somewhere.
Oh, you must be Daisy. I'm so sorry about your problem.
I don't know how I fell. I still don't understand. Like, did I go over the handlebars? Did I slide out from the back? Like, did I hit a rock? Did I accidentally hit the front brake? I don't know.
Did it like a blackout kind of a thing? Did
No, I just don't. It happened so quickly that I don't
Yeah.
know the mechanics of what happened. Like, and my whole right side of my body got banged up. Like, I'm all yellow. My whole right arm is yellow and cut.
Oh,
My
yeah.
right thigh is scraped. My right ribs were hurt. My right knee is hurt. And then.
If it makes you
it's-
feel any better, my entire ass is always yellow bruised, like a banana.
But it's the left knee that's really bad.
Yeah.
So, like, if the whole right side of my body is what hit, I had a bruise on my face from where my glasses crushed onto my face.
Oh, nerd.
So, how did my left knee get this? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm confused.
That's your plant foot that you tore your ACL with before, and then you nailed the other side of your body. I don't know if you tore anything yet, but she's going to go to the doctor tomorrow. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
So at the Glenwood Springs Hospital. Usually hospitals, I hate being in them. I hate, I'm telling you, I'm going to tell my sons, I'm like, don't let me die in a hospital.
Okay.
Just put me outside. Let me die outside. I hate them. So I'm like, this place is like, it looks like a mountain lodge. Like, it's nice. It's got like views of the mountains. I'm like, not that bad. Although, just like every other hospital, there's crazy people in them. There was a prisoner in there. There was a senile old man that pooped his bed that was screaming the whole time.
He was literally screaming that, and he's like, somebody's got to clean this up. And they're like, we're trying to help you, sir. You need to get back in the room. And he was like covered in poop in the hallway.
That was future me. I was hanging out there. I wanted to see what was
and
going
I
on.
was just laying there scared, like...
If you're a hospital nurse, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have to go through this.
I'll kiss your face.
It's horrible. So we're there. We go to the hospital, and then the lady's like, "Oh, this is a trauma case." And then she picks up the phone, and then she's
Trauma.
like,
yeah, she's like, we need the trauma team in here. And I'm like, trauma?
yeah.
Am I bleeding internally?
Well, I hear I'm like, no, don't
trauma. There's no trauma.
I'm like, don't call that because all I is like, oh, that is a $25,000 phone call.
I hope it wasn't that much.
And then so the whole time they do the X-rays, the CAT, all these things.
CAT scan.
By the way, I'm sitting there silent.
I was scared because they couldn't figure out why I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
So, and like they're touching my ribs. None of them hurt to the touch, but it hurt me to breathe or move my arm.
Was that that area in there around your ribs? Did you just, because I know there's in there tissue that can get inflamed?
That's what they said, basically, is that I overextended.
That's what they tell me, too. It's always tissue inflamed in me. It's never a real issue. I go to the doctor, I'm like, this is killing me.
I'm like, well, what did I come here for?
Yeah, the doctor's putting on some leg brace that I know is $700.
Oh, that's $1,000.
Yeah.
They CAT scanned my entire thorax, neck to pelvis.
Whoa.
And I'm like,
to make sure I didn't have any bleeds or anything.
All right.
This place is just racking the bills.
They heard that I fell mountain biking in Aspen, and they were like,
Give her the premium.
Little do they know, I don't have insurance.
The doo-doo old man and the prisoner has nothing.
They're fine.
Like that's costing us money. But this lady, this Aspen mountain biking lady, we're gonna give her the whole thing, the leg brace. It's gonna be
Poor Lariat Crown. We're doing it.
And I can't say anything at this point because I wanted to. I'm like, she doesn't need the leg brace.
You look like a real POS if you do that, dude.
But also, I'm also doing the math of like,
where are the boys?
How much did I push for this mountain biking adventure?
Yeah.
How much was it both of our decision? How much was it just me?
Oh, you were running the percentages. He was running percentages on
Isn't that
blame.
sad that he's even doing that?
I got to tell you,
Does it matter?
Everybody does that.
Maybe one of the
course
only
it matters.
things that Tom and I have in common is I do run blame percentages all the time. All the time.
You have to run it.
I'm a king of blame percentages.
Like I'm laying there crying, and he's like trying to figure out if he should say something or not, and then doing the math on.
Well, you shouldn't
how
say
much
anything.
is
You're
this-
not going to say anything good.
How much is this going to cost me?
No, you can't say that.
In my wallet and emotionally in the future, how much is this going to cost me with the old hammer mouth?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's not happening.
This is a months of no hammer. Anyway,
He's gotten it twice.
Hey, all right. Nice.
So
Injured and everything. Can't even bend my knees.
My God, injured on the go.
well, yeah, I mean, I have basic needs as a human.
Yeah, exactly. All you can do is lay around now, so just fall over. I'll bring it to you. I'll bring it to you. It's
That's
fine.
fine. Yeah, I can push through anything.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Into the world.
I
doesn't
like the
matter.
leg brace.
Yeah.
I like the brace.
Well, you could push through anything. Well, I'm the one who's pushing through.
So anyway, so
please.
now Crystal doesn't know she's going to the.
golly.
By the way, this is still gonna cost me because of the orthopedic tomorrow.
You're not even on the peak yet.
I'll never financially recover this. Tiger King. This will be a ongoing.
This is the end of the show.
Yeah, no. Well,
It'll bankrupt the show.
Anyway, so
Something's not right in there, though, in the knee.
What's going on with it?
It doesn't. It's not normal. Like it doesn't work.
Can you put weight on it?
Yeah, I can stand straight
Okay.
and I can walk with the legs straight, but
Can
it
you
doesn't.
flex it at all? No.
I can do like this.
Yeah.
I could bend it. How many degrees is this? 25.
Not even.
But I can't bend it while I'm standing on it.
Huh.
And if I'm standing straight only with weight on this leg, it wobbles front to
Oh,
back.
yeah, mine do that.
So
But mine don't work. So my legs, I have like puppet legs.
Also, it hurts and is swollen.
two more quick things before we leave.
Where were the boys when you went to the hospital?
Oh, they're
Andres picked him up.
Yeah, they're just playing video games.
Fishing, having ice cream.
Yeah, that's one thing. They're like me, where they're just like, I do think I'll like they'll be fine if I die.
Dude,
They'll just forget.
I wish I had that. I can't keep Maisie out of my business. Anything, the air conditioner's messing up. I'm like, what's that noise? To Andrea, Maisie goes, what's that noise? I go up to check it, and Maisie opens the door. I found a bunch of stuff in the shower, and I was like, ew, bugs. Maisie goes charging in there to fix it.
It's like the grass is always greener,
Yeah.
but I wish my kids would be more interested.
I want your
in things.
kids. Let's
Like,
switch.
My sons are home alone right now.
love
They don't
that.
even know. They have no
They
idea.
don't even know that I
They're
left.
sleeping.
Yeah, they have no idea that they're alone.
Okay, two more things you said.
Yeah, so we before this mountain biking trip, we go to Grottoes and Devil's Punch Bowl to do some cliff jumping.
That was dope.
Which now in retrospect,
I feel like
look
you set
back-
the bar high because you were showing off a little bit. You're like, look at us. Look what we're doing.
Yeah. So, and that's the stuff is free that I like doing the most. And then, so we go to Grottoes, which I didn't even know you could jump off of into the pools. It's basically like levels of waterfalls into rock pools.
It's called the Cascade.
How cold is the
Cascades.
water?
Oh, it's freezing.
Daniel, I
50.
think my body thought it died when I hit that water
Yeah,
because
50 is cold.
I couldn't take a breath and I suddenly didn't feel anything and all senses were lost and I didn't know where I was. The people were yelling at me, swim, swim. And I was like, huh?
I bet it would have felt great on that leg, though.
I
man.
know,
If you could go
absolutely.
back there, just throw the leg in there.
So we get to the Cascades at Grottoes, and then I see a young guy
young stud.
jumping off, and he's doing flips,
Oh,
and and there's a bunch of people watching him,
Showing off.
and he's the only one doing it, right? And which my friends,
This is what gorillas do, right?
had dubbed him Young TC. With like,
But this is what gorillas do. The older gorilla shows up, and he sees the one gorilla jumping off the rock, and he's like, well, I got to go up there and show him that I still got it.
And so we're watching them, and I'm looking down. It's a little sketchy. Like, there are rocks all around. He's jumping, like, basically into whitewater. You can't tell what's underneath there. You just have
That's
to.
the best part of whitewater. You can't tell what's underneath there.
And then I heard some people saying, "Oh yeah, it's the whitewater. That's the deep part. That's where you know there's no rocks." Everything's like, "All
Like,
right."
well, what if I aim wrong and I hit over there a little bit?
And
That's not true for all whitewater. I just want to make blanket statement.
yeah. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not,
not true.
I'm not from this place. I have no,
Right, but he did it a few times, and we were like, all right,
So and then so
I got the gist of this.
and so he's then he's seeing people walk. He's like telling other people. He told Fernando. Fernando's sitting there, and then he's like, "Hey, you want to go? You should go do this."
You want to do it, or you're too chicken?
Yeah, he was a nice kid.
He wasn't one of those
he
guys.
was trying to encourage other people to do.
What?
His
he
buddy
know?
told us he was a YouTuber. like
really?
he's a YouTube influencer. I have no idea.
You
I
should
wanted
go-
to look him up.
My God, you should got his ad.
I tried to Google his picture, Google image his picture.
Andres called him Giga Chad.
You go, that's bad.
He wasn't a Giga Chat at all.
I don't
Bad
know.
thing. That's a bad
That's
thing.
what you've known him as, Giga Chad. So Giga Chad is telling Fernando, like, "Hey, you could do it, old man."
Yeah.
Even though he was being nice.
Yeah, do it for the clicks.
So then I was like, "Well, I'll do it."
I knew you would do
So
that.
then I take off my shirt and I got my board shorts underneath my pants. I take those off.
He was ready with his board
And
shorts.
so then
Just in case there's something to jump off of.
So
Got 'em all.
then because we were going to Devil's Punch Bowl to jump later, I didn't know we were going to jump here, but I was like, "Oh, he's doing it, I'll do it."
Another jump? Don't mind if I do.
So the problem is to even get to the rock he's jumping off, you have to jump over a rushing river that goes off a waterfall.
Okay,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
With rocks and like underneath. So, and the jump is about like, I would say 9 foot, right? 9 foot gap. You have to jump from one rock to another.
Sure.
Underneath the gap is just rushing whitewater with rocks.
9 feet gap.
And then a waterfall after that. Now, not a deadly waterfall. You'd probably just
But
get
you
washed
hurt
up,
yourself on
scrape.
those rocks.
You'd fall down the waterfall, scrape yourself. Everybody would be, my friends would laugh at me. Anyway, so I go up there, we climb up, and he leaps over effortlessly.
Yeah.
He's 22.
Almost like a fairy.
Giga Chad.
Yeah, like Peter Pan.
Yeah, he leaps over, and he's like, "Yeah, just jump over." So I take a beat.
I don't know nothing about that.
And so then, at this point in time, Crystal's like, "Well, I'll do it too." And then so I was like, "All right, that's my backup."
God,
I'm like,
you
"I gotta help my wife. I can't." I'm like, "Hold on, sir."
All your vacations are just daring each other to get hurt.
I'm like,
I just don't want, I don't want to not be able to do something
So
that my husband can do.
Oh, you guys are gonna hate old age. It's coming for you. It's
that's how I'll die.
Maybe that'll keep us going.
That's the Van Way. It's like, you know,
you're going to do this? Well, I'm going to do
It's
it.
like Lieutenant Dan. All his ancestors died in the war. Like I'll die doing something that
I'll die flipping next to a Giga Chad.
yeah.
It's an honorable way to go.
Which
you get that on YouTube?
By the way, side joke, my son Tommy we joked around about me getting killed by a grizzly bear because I told him, I was like, well, if a grizzly bear ever did come out of the woods, I'll rush towards it and save my family and you guys can run away. And then Tommy's like, well, then I'll get a tattoo on my arm of a grizzly bear. And that
He's
made
the
me-
best. He's the best. Tommy's the best.
We all get a good laugh at that.
Yeah.
And anyway, back to the Giga Chad. So he's then he's like, well, you can get out this other. You walk like basically jump to the smaller
There's
rock.
the easy way out, or there's the way that Giga Chad does
Yeah,
it.
but even on the easy way.
Yeah, so on the easier way, you have to jump down to a small. By the way, rushing water underneath
right.
you. Anyway, I get down, and then he reaches his hand out. I didn't want to do it, but I had to take the Giga Chad's hand, and then he had to lift me up, which I felt,
Never give a Giga Chad your hand.
It was he was like, come on, don't worry. He
You
crouched
should have
down.
died.
He reached his
I
hand.
like that. I like that move.
Slap it
where,
away.
I like that move where you are so prideful that you have your hand out, you're about to grab it, and you're like, no, I'd rather die. And then you know what you do? You just slowly kill yourself. You just slowly go into the water and hold your breath till you die. You have to do it slow too. You have to go like,
Then I tumble off the waterfall, and then the whole crowd is screaming in horror. They
There
watch me
was
drown.
quite a crowd.
Yeah. The
and then your
kids,
son would get a
my son-
waterfall. It's a little more approachable. A beautiful cascading waterfall all down his arm.
So I grabbed his hand. He helped us both up. He helped Crystal, and then we get up on the rock and we jump off.
I think it's cool.
I think I did it by myself. I think I remember doing it by myself.
No,
You guys were doing a
got
great
help.
job.
I helped you. I reached
It was cool watching you guys jump off the ride. It looked super
Yeah.
fun. It looked like awesome.
It was exhilarating.
Nobody else did it, just you guys?
just me and Crystal.
Does
yeah.
it put any heat on the rest of the guys?
They don't. They don't care. They're
Yeah.
normal. They're normal 40-year-old dads
Yeah.
that are like, we don't have to prove anything.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't want to die in front of our kids.
I noticed that during that
We
time,
don't care
I saw
about Giga
Fernando
Chad.
was just standing there holding a drink like the whole time.
yeah.
Later, though, he did say, like, man, I should have done that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to regret it. You don't want to regret it.
But it's not that much regret. Not them. And then we went to Devil's Punch Bowl. Then I jumped off this big ass cliff, which I saw other people do, and I was confident.
Which
that
one were you flipping? That was cool.
Well, that was a smaller one. The max jump off. Yeah, we did some cliff jumping. Although, every time I jump off this, I'm like, I don't know. I could be in the wrong
Wait,
place.
stop right there. You said every time I jump off this, I say, I don't know. You can stop right there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like when I'm leaving the rock, I'm like, I could be
Rocketing toward boulder.
And then, the whole family's got to watch me die, in here
Yeah.
because I'll be rushed down the waterfall again.
But it means something to you.
Face, face down
But
the
it
waterfall.
means something to you, right? There's something in you
Yeah.
that makes it like you're like, I like this.
So we'll end with the last day at the airport. So we
Let's
get.
start with the day before the last day.
Would you poop your pants again?
No, but
Sorry.
so Friday is the day that I fell and hurt myself, and Saturday he allowed a day of rest and recovery.
Oh, how benevolent of God to allow a rest day.
But on Sunday he's like, we gotta do something. Let's go. So we got in the car. We drove an hour and
This
45
dog's gotta
minutes
run.
to this place called Grand Mesa, and we walked around for hours. And I walked, and it felt good to walk actually. But then on Sunday, or was it Monday? Monday was the day before we were leaving. I'm like, we have to pack. We have to clean this whole entire house. We just had how many people were? 16 people at the house for 10 days or whatever. Like, we had a lot to do, and he cannot just sit and do nothing for one day. He made us all get in the car and drive down to the local park and swim in the river. And I'm sitting there the whole time,
God,
like,
you're an animal.
I know it's like,
Like a slave
Colorado,
driver.
we have to see it. I'm like, you can't just sit in the house.
I know, but
You're
I'm
watching
like,
YouTube.
I'm hurt, and
I'm like, you know what this guy's buddy did?
Yeah, I want to watch the guy flip it on YouTube. I want to watch the guy doing the.
No.
I
I
want
can
to watch
barely,
Giga Chad.
I
I just added him.
So and then I got in the river with Tommy, which was a little sketchy because no one else was doing it. I was like, we're gonna, die out here.
just can't let one day go by.
Anyway, at the airport, we're we're at Atlanta Airport getting
And you're like, what's the most extreme way to do this airport?
No.
Yeah. Start jumping off the trash cans.
Which is the sketchiest bathroom? We're going to poop in the toilet that has the most deuces in it.
We get out of the
Extreme Dad.
the tram, the underground
It's gonna
tram,
make me sound so bad.
and to go to our section, and then we have to go up 2 escalators, right? And this crowd is the Atlanta Airport.
And you're like, I don't do escalators. Where are the stairs?
And so we're waiting in line, and then all of a sudden we hear like a commotion and a crowd like, oh my God. And then some
There's like screaming. And then
So-
there's a commotion at the base of the escalator.
a fat old man fell down.
That's me. That's me.
And his wife.
And, like, he fell-
old people, like 80 years old.
That's Andrea.
He fell on his wife, and then the escalator was grinding him
Oh,
good,
my
right?
God.
And so they're like
Yeah.
screaming, like, ah!
Yeah, it's a
And
meat grinder. It'll kill you.
You
Take your
remember
hands
seeing that
off.
lady, the old lady that fell on the escalator and was tumbling?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they
It
couldn't.
was that.
Yeah,
So-
it's a screensaver on my computer.
So people are screaming, and then they stopped the wrong escalator. They stopped the left one, and the people are still tumbling down to the right one.
Typical government, right? Typical.
So everyone's like,
airport
stop the other one, and they stopped the other. So now both escalators are stopped, right?
Oh, God.
And so now the people on the left escalator are just standing there watching, looking at the old man and his wife,
Yeah.
and they're falling over,
But
and they're trying to
it's
pull
two
them up.
separate escalators side by side. The one on the left is just stairs now.
Yeah.
Right? The one on the right, okay, I get it. Like, don't push the people out of the way. Like, give them help. But on the left, everyone is just rubbernecking. You're just stopped and looking.
I mean, I would want to watch the old people get
Yes,
grind.
so
ground,
No,
I mean, I
they
would
had already
watch.
stopped. Now people are just helping them stand and gather their bags, and still nobody's moving on the left.
Oh, yeah, you mean they should be walking?
Yes,
yeah, okay.
start walking.
Yeah.
So the left escalator stopped because they hit the emergency, and everybody's just standing there. And the right escalator, obviously, the old people have fallen down, and they're trying to help them up. But now another train has come, and there's a huge crowd behind us.
Did you do citizens arrest?
No.
No.
15 Mississippis, and this is what it seemed like to me. Everybody sitting in silence, and Chris was like, keep walking.
I said,
yeah.
I
Screamed out.
screamed,
I would
can
do
you
that.
people start walking?
I would do that too.
And then TC was like, oh,
Oh, me,
Oh my gosh, you went too extreme.
me
That's
and
too
Tommy
extreme.
Max, we were just like, oh, but we're never know this
That's
lady.
You know
something
what
I would have
happened?
done.
Hey, you know
I
what
would have been
happened?
like, let's get moving.
You know what happened? Everybody started walking after
Yeah.
that. It's like you're like everybody's stopped and staring at this train wreck that's happened, and no one else, nobody realizes there's a crowd building behind you. People still have planes
Yeah.
to catch. Now we have to walk up this escalator. I'm hobbling too. Like get moving. You know, you just need someone to snap them out of it.
Yeah, that's true.
And they all started
And
walking.
then they were like,
after.
oh, yeah, she's right. She's
It's
right.
herd mentality. Somebody
It
needs
is.
to blow the whistle or whatever.
Yeah, but you know what I do?
Yeah.
I let someone else do it.
Yeah, but you can be. Well, someone else did. Someone else did. You just don't
But
want
not,
it
not
in your
my wife.
family.
Yeah. I don't want to.
What
be
about
that-
me? What if it were like Dennis is with Vans, which we've done before, and
Yeah.
because I will say that, you know, I will.
Yeah, but
I say things all the time.
But you're not my wife. Like at least I can.
So that's okay?
I can look at you like a stranger. Like what's this guy doing?
This guy crazy bitch.
Yeah, you like when it's my wife, I have to be. They're like you're the evil one too.
You're just like her. I see it in your eyes.
Anyway, so I'm sorry you got hurt.
But I'm going to keep doing it.
No, I did learn my lesson.
Are you dialing back your...
Listen, that 700 is going to turn into a good, cool 30,000.
Yeah, that's an easy.
Because I know I'm going to need surgery on this knee. No, let me not put that out
You
there.
get some plates.
I might not.
Get some.
Maybe it'll just heal and start bending again by itself. I
That
don't know.
happens.
Yeah, luckily you don't have to pay medical bills. That's what I did in my trashy
Yeah.
Yes,
youth.
you do.
You just
have to get on
ignore
a
it.
payment plan.
I'm not paying my hip injection. I'm still
that's
fighting
I
it.
told
I'm
Dana.
still fighting it.
Yeah, if you just never pay it, it goes away.
$4,000 hip injection didn't even work.
Anyway,
I'm glad you're okay. That was
yeah.
scary.
It could have been worse. I did think, I was like, man, what if this was worst case scenario? Like you're injured forever.
You know
what I'm saying? Like now it's like, yeah, you walk a little funny
Right,
forever
right. Wait.
over something stupid.
I walk a little funny forever?
No, I'm just saying if you
It did
did.
sound
No,
like you
okay.
said.
I just
like,
need to be able to ski.
It
If I
did,
could ski.
it
I
did
would.
sound like you said that she is going to be walking funny.
No.
now.
I was like, what if that would happen?
You can get a cane with a sword in it. That's what Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC did when he got hurt.
No. Come on. Now.
Everyone likes a sword cane.
You know, the people at the hospital said you really dodged a bullet because usually when we see mountain biking accidents, there's like teeth missing or bone sticking out of the leg or whatever.
We
So they're
found
like,
these
you just got a
dolphin-
bunch of soft tissue injury.
We found these dolphin teeth in the woods.
My teeth.
That's your own. I'm sorry. I don't forget anything.
Who found Puff Daddy? The Bart Merrick team, Crystal Van, her cell phone is on.
I'm still able to
BartTheRealtor.com.
work, so have me over.
She
take a look at your house.
Hey.
She could show you a house while she walks from you.
Yeah. We'd like to see that.
Yeah. So, sorry, babe.
She's
I
the-
will not be going upstairs. You'll tour the
She's the
upstairs by
pimp with a
yourself.
limp.
If it gives you any recourse, I'm going to pay dearly for it.
Yeah, it's bad.
Eventually, my
But
mentality.
you've already got 2 hammer mouths. That's pretty good.
No,
Have I made you feel bad about this at all?
I mean, not. No, you didn't.
Was she giving off any of the energy we aforementioned?
No, but I feel like when she's like, "Oh, my leg," that's
your
yeah,
fault. Yeah. Every time she says that, it's like, ah,
If I have to get around, if I have to get up off the couch and I go,
yeah.
then
Yeah,
he
yeah.
thinks that's in like I'm.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like you're telling you, like, don't you know to suffer in silence? That's a rule
All right, I'll
in the
suffer in
Van
silence.
household. You can't make any noise or tell me.
God forbid you get a freaking cold. You're over
Suffer
there.
in silence.
Your nose isn't even stuffy, and you're whining about having a cold.
All right,
Good grief.
listen.
All right. What's your next adventure? Let's end. That's a good ending.
We haven't started.
but you always
Well, the
have
Tom
one
and Dan
loaded.
cruise is coming up.
You always have one loaded.
No, there's nothing to do.
Oh, now are you going to be reckless? Are you going to be restless on the boat? You're
No,
like,
yeah.
all we have to do.
We probably
is-
can go scuba diving. The Bahamas, they don't check nothing.
I can't carry all that weight.
Yeah, they'll put it on you in the water.
Yeah, they put it on you in the water.
Yeah. I just have to tip them $5.
Yeah, they'll actually scuba dive for you. Just hold the regulator in your mouth. You just swim around.
All right, we'll see you next time.